I have kidnapped an alien civilization. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 326, The Magical Operation of the International Mathematical Union. Liemo, satisfied, left the grey fog space. Although he missed the Fields Medal, he got a chance to ask questions to alien civilizations, which was a small compensation. He still had the phone in his hand, and the executive secretary of the International Mathematical Union on the other side of the phone was still waiting for his reply. "Oh, I will never accept this year's Fields Medal." When Liemo said this, he felt his heart bleeding. At that time, you can invite 5 friends to go with you, and the International Mathematical Union will provide you with rooms in a 5-star hotel. And what? When the executive secretary was talking endlessly about the relevant matters of receiving the award to the winner of the Fields Medal, he seemed to hear an incredible word, and he rubbed his ears. "I, Professor Liemo of Huaguo, have decided to refuse this year's Fields Medal." Liemo repeated, "You can ask for someone else." After that, he hung up the phone fiercely. This is much more difficult than when he refused the 500 million funds. The picture of the memory disappeared, and he returned to Liemo's office. So when Zia King said that the International Mathematical Union invited him to accept the Fields Medal, Liemo's face was full of confusion. Didn't he refuse the Fields Medal at the beginning? Impossible. This is not a trivial matter like forgetting to close the door when going out. It is absolutely impossible to remember it wrong. Zia King's smile became even brighter. "It's like this, boss. The International Mathematical Union has changed the city of this year's Mathematical Congress from LNM country to Yanjing in China." The Mathematical Congress changed the city? Why? Liemo knew that international conferences like this, which are held every 4 years, are like the Olympics. Every application must be voted on by all members of the International Mathematical Union, and must go through a tedious review process. It is not something that can be decided by one person or a few hundred people. "You don't know?" Zia King showed a strange expression on her face, as if she saw a person who was isolated from the world. As she said, she took out her mobile phone. Type in the search bar, "Professor Liemo Fields Medal." Select a sort by time. 10 million search results instantly appeared on the mobile phone screen. Shocking news. Professor Liemo refused the Fields Medal. Super big news. Professor Liemo, who proved the gold batch conjecture, just refused the Fields Medal for unknown reasons. In the internet age, the bigger the matter, the shorter the content. This press release of dozens of words has more than 200 million views. According to sources, the reason why Professor Liemo refused the Fields Medal is, according to sources, the United States has long coveted great scientists, and the award ceremony held in LA is itself a conspiracy. This news has received more than 120 million likes, and 95% of netizens support Liemo's refusal of the Fields Medal. Only a few fools who believe that science has no borders think that this is worrying about nothing. The International Mathematical Union held an emergency meeting to nominate a new Fields Medal winner. It is reported that Professor Arrington, who has just made outstanding contributions to smooth linearity, replaced Professor Liemo as the new Fields Medal winner. At the International Mathematical Union Congress, Professor Arrington was approved by a high vote. The newly elected Professor Arrington issued a statement overnight to refuse this year's Fields Medal. Arrington, a mathematics professor at Oxford University, immediately issued a statement after learning that he had replaced Professor Liemo as the new Fields Medal winner. In the statement, he believed that his contribution to mathematics, compared with Professor Liemo, was nothing but a firefly. How could it compete with the bright moon? The International Mathematical Union held an emergency meeting again, and Professor Shiro Koinuma of Kyoto University in Japan became the new Fields Medal winner. Professor Shiro Koinuma issued a statement to reject the Fields Medal and said that the Fields Medal without Liemo would seriously lose its credibility. Professor Maula Hansa, who was listed as the next Fields Medal winner, issued a statement in advance saying that if this year's Fields Medal was not awarded to Professor Liemo, he would withdraw from the International Mathematical Union. More than 20,000 mathematics professors from well-known universities around the world have sent letters of protest to the International Mathematical Union. The protests intensified, and it is reported that more than 70% of mathematicians have expressed their dissatisfaction with the Mathematical Union. The International Mathematical Union suddenly held a closed-door expanded meeting, with more than 5,000 members from around the world attending. The meeting, which lasted for a day, still did not end. It is reported that a fierce conflict occurred during the meeting, and the reason is unknown. Shocking. Explosive. In order to take care of Professor Liamo's health, the International Mathematical Union decided to change the city where this year's Mathematical Congress will be held. The 3-day closed-door meeting finally ended. The executive chairman of the National Mathematical Union suddenly announced that Professor Liamo, the winner of this year's Fields Medal, could not travel long distances due to health reasons. In order to show that the International Mathematical Union is an alliance that cares about the health of mathematicians around the world, the alliance decided to change the city where the Mathematical Congress will be held from LA in the United States to Yanjing in China. Yanjing welcomes the decision of the International Mathematical Union and is determined to organize this mathematical congress in the shortest possible time. A spokesperson for Yanjing said that after receiving the notice from the International Mathematical Union, Yanjing immediately organized a team of more than 10,000 volunteers and vacated a 26-story 5-star hotel as the venue. Although time is tight, it is believed that with Yanjing's rich experience in hosting international conferences, this mathematical congress will be successfully held. The city of LA, which was deprived of the right to host, protested to the International Mathematical Union. LA, which was temporarily excluded, faced the embarrassing situation of all its early preparatory activities going down the drain. They lodged a written protest to the executive chairman of the International Mathematical Union, Parade, through the Ivy League, believing that the International Mathematical Union's behavior violated the principle of integrity. Dark curtain or cheating? The International Mathematical Union suddenly issued a 351-page investigation report. In this report, it is recorded in detail that LA City accepted bribes from at least 25 voting members in order to obtain the right to host the International Mathematical Congress. Moreover, in the process of preparing for the International Mathematical Congress, Louisiana City was inferior to good, and there were more than 1,000 facilities with safety problems. Even the towels used in the hotel were not seriously disinfected. After inspection, these unsterilized towels contained at least 20 kinds of pathogens that could cause disease. In the end, the National Mathematical Union stated that it would blacklist LA City and prohibit it from applying for all activities organized by the International Mathematical Union in the next 20 years. Hi. The executive chairman of the International Mathematical Union is a master. Liamo saw this and gave a thumbs up. He believed that this investigation report had been on Parade's desk for a long time, but he had been waiting for the right time. After the city of LA protested, he released this report that was enough to make the world speechless. Only by anticipating the enemy's moves can you be invincible. Liamo believed that perhaps at every mathematicians' congress held by the International Mathematical Union, there would be such an insurance report hidden in Parade's safe. More than 10 million search results on the web page, most of which were similar news. So, I can receive the Fields Medal again. Liamo said happily. The medal that was lost, but not obtained, was also exchanged for an opportunity to ask questions. This deal was worth it. Chapter 327 Anderson Defense System. Liamo was very happy to get the Fields Medal back, but he still had one important thing to do, which was to ask the big-headed Pajero for a favor immediately. Pajero, Pajero, he called in his heart. Gray fog filled the air. According to our agreement, you owe me an opportunity to answer a question. Can I ask a question now? Liamo finished speaking and waited nervously. In fact, he did not suffer any substantial loss this time. If the big-headed Pajero wanted to cheat, he would have no way to deal with it. Fortunately, a voice came from the high platform where the gray fog rolled. You can ask questions now. I don't need to tell you the rules. You know. According to the general rules of the law of cosmic civilization, the questions raised cannot involve specific technology. Liamo smiled slightly. My question this time is whether there can be multiple different types of intelligent creatures coexisting in a civilization. As we all know, Earth civilization is a civilization with humans as the main body. There are thousands of living species on Earth. But except for humans, other species do not have enough wisdom, and most of their activities are just a survival instinct. Even chimpanzees, who share the same ancestor as humans, only have the IQ of a 5-year-old human child, far from posing any threat to the dominant position of humans. Some archaeologists believe that perhaps other highly intelligent creatures have evolved on Earth, but they have gradually become extinct with the rise of humans. France once discovered a large natural uranium mine in Gabon, Africa, the Auroch uranium mine. During the mining process, engineers found that the uranium-235 content produced by the Auroch uranium mine was only 0.69%, far below the standard 0.73%. So in order to prevent the theft of nuclear materials, a special investigation team was assigned to the Oklo area for investigation. However, the results of the investigation became more and more bizarre. The investigation team found that the uranium-235 content in some areas was even as low as 0.44%, which was not like the natural uranium concentration at all. What's more, many fission products of uranium mines were found around the mining area. What does this mean? It means that these uranium mines have been used by others, and they are now all second-hand goods. As humans explore the Earth more and more deeply, similar discoveries are gradually increasing. Someone once found a rusty iron nail in a rock hundreds of millions of years ago. Various evidences show that there were more than one intelligent creature on Earth before humans. Did they become extinct due to natural disasters, or were they forced to hide due to the emergence of humans? So, in the universe, can the same civilization coexist with more than two different types of intelligent creatures? Grey fog rolled on the high platform. After a long time, the big-headed Pajero man slowly said, "Is your question limited to carbon-based creatures?" Liemo then remembered that the classification of different species is only a unique classification method in carbon-based civilizations. Silicon-based civilizations naturally do not have different species. Yes, this question is limited to carbon-based creatures. He gave a definite answer. In the history of the development of our Pajero civilization, there have been similar discussions. Is the Pajero civilization the Pajero people? As the last Gudu beast died of old age in the Species Preservation Park, all the Pajerus breathed a sigh of relief, because from then on, there were no other highly intelligent species on the entire Pajero planet except the Pajerus. At that time, all the Pajerus believed that we were the masters of the Pajero planet, and the entire Pajero civilization belonged to the Pajerus. With the development of science, the airspace explored by the Pajero civilization became larger and larger, and encountered various civilizations. It was discovered that they were also single civilization systems, and there was no other intelligent species in the civilization. Just when the Academy of Sciences thought that this issue could be concluded, a sudden encounter changed everything. Encounter? Liemo was excited. It was different from the scene of evenly matched cannons bombarding each other in the interstellar wars, described in science fiction movies. The space wars described by the big-headed Pajerus are always full of alternative humor. Either destroy the enemy with one blow, or hide patiently. The scene of large-scale spacecraft dispatch can only appear after the hostile civilization has been fully detected. It is also possible that science fiction movies are based on wars that have occurred on Earth, which is a wrong approach in itself. Because the war on Earth is a war within the same species of human beings, everyone has the same nose and mouth and common weaknesses. Therefore, although there is a huge difference in the use of weapons and methods of war in the war, there is no essential difference. In space, intelligent species vary greatly, and the way of life is also essentially different. Maybe you are operating a spaceship and firing an iron cannon. The civilization on the opposite side relies on swallowing irons for survival. This shot is equivalent to sending a 10-full tonic pill to the opposite side. Therefore, encounters between unknown civilizations in the universe are rare. After the information is not fully detected, even if two warships meet face to face, they will friendly and quickly separate. After all, they don't know what kind of existence is on the opposite spaceship. This encounter took place in the edge area of the water droplet galaxy. At that time, the Pajero civilization had just entered the level 3 civilization. The big-headed Pajero man first explained the background of the encounter. A Pajero energy mine escort fleet was attacked by a high-energy ion cannon when passing a red dwarf star. The attacker was a spaceship from an unknown civilization. Although the ion cannon failed to penetrate the frigate's energy shield, and the spaceship of the unknown civilization was blown into pieces by the interstellar quantum defense system deployed by Pajero on the red dwarf star 0.1 seconds later. The Pajero fleet did not suffer any losses in the whole incident. But the sudden appearance of this spaceship of unknown civilization on the edge of the water drop galaxy made the great scientists of the Pajero Academy of Sciences quite angry. In order to ensure the safety of Pajero motherhood, as early as the level 2 civilization, the Pajero people spent the energy of 5 stars to deploy a strict anti defense system within a radius of 10 light years. At the beginning, the great scientist who designed the anti defense system claimed that if you want to break through these defense systems composed of quantum microwave radars, laser cannons, automatic cruise particle bombs, high-energy ion cannons, etc., at least 10 or more reorganized fleets above the star level are needed. I didn't expect that a small spaceship could penetrate through heavy defenses and appear in the airspace only 5 light years away from the Pajero's home planet. If a complete stellar class fleet had appeared this time, the Pajero's home planet would have been covered in smoke long ago. The Academy of Sciences will never tolerate such a mistake. On the one hand, it ordered a comprehensive review of the anti defense system, and on the other hand, it sent a support fleet to bring the unknown civilization's spaceship that was bombed into ashes to the 21st research planet. Research planet, and number 21 at that. That means there are at least 20 planets ahead that serve as Pajero's research bases. Liemo couldn't help but smack his lips. The research fanatic Pajero really lives up to his reputation. The big-headed Pajero continued, the support fleet used space topology technology to completely topology the space where the unknown spacecraft was located to the number 21 scientific research planet. There, they reassembled the spacecraft. 20 cosmic days later, a complete spacecraft appeared in front of the Pajero scientists. According to the energy and material analysis used by this spacecraft should have been made by a carbon-based level 2 civilization. This result puzzled the Academy of Sciences. This unknown civilization can develop to level 2 in a dangerous universe, so it should naturally understand the basic laws of the universe. Why did this spacecraft appear in the Pajero defense field and launch the first attack? This suicidal attack left the Pajero scientists puzzled. Chapter 328 Zuhoran. The big-headed Pajero continued to narrate with this question. Scientists resurrected the pilot of the spacecraft on the number 21 research planet. Resurrect the pilot? The spacecraft that was blown into pieces can be restored through scientific means. Liemo can understand it, because the Pajero civilization has a high level of science and technology. However, resurrecting a life form in a shattered state seems to have gone beyond the scope of science and technology. He asked with doubts. Can carbon-based life forms also be resurrected through scientific means? On the high platform Grey Fog rolled, of course. Our Pajero's resurrection is through the complete collection of carbon-based biological cells in the topological state space, and then recombined. It is not really resurrecting the original alien pilot. This method is somewhat similar to the cloning technology of you Earthlings, but the biggest difference is that the cloned organism is a brand new life form, but it has the same genetic information as the mother body. And our Pajero's resurrection technology is to recreate a life form that is exactly the same as the mother body through the combination of the mother's original cells. The big-headed Pajero explained. Of course, neither cloning nor resurrection technology can restore the original life consciousness of the mother body. Although the new organisms obtained through resurrection technology have the same genetic information and memory as the mother body, they are not the same life body, because life consciousness has more than just memory. Regarding this point, the Pajero Academy of Sciences once conducted a large-scale experiment. The experimental subjects were a group of rebels from the edge of the galaxy. These rebels are alien carbon-based creatures who are dissatisfied with the rule of the Pajero civilization, and are full of hatred for us Pajeros. The Academy of Sciences crushed these more than 50,000 rebels into single cells in an ion evaporation chamber. Then, through resurrection technology, these cells were reassembled, and after the resurrection was completed, the original memories were instilled into their brains. A strange result appeared. These new rebels with the same genetic information and memory as the mother body did not show the hatred they should have for the Pagirus in brainwave tests. In other words, they are no longer themselves. The big-headed Pagirus tried their best to describe the alien technology with the vocabulary of Earth civilization, but perhaps the level of civilization on Earth is too low to explain this resurrection. However, Liemo seemed to understand a little. He looked at the grey fog in front of him and muttered to himself, "They are no longer them." Perhaps he realized that the explanation just now worked. The big-headed Pajero continued to narrate. When analyzing the memory of this alien pilot, the Pajero scientists made a major discovery. This carbon-based creature is a two-clawed arthropod with 12 arms of varying lengths, somewhat similar to the centipedes on your Earth. When extracting the memory of the alien pilot, something happened that surprised the Pajero people. The memory stamp in his brain had cracked a little, which means that we can get all his memories intact. Memory stamp? Is it the kind of thing you imagine? Liemo asked puzzledly. What is a memory stamp? A memory stamp is a kind of... The big-headed Pajero hesitated, as if he didn't know how to describe it. A memory stamp is a memory stamp. There are not so many other things. Liemo was speechless. This alien teacher was unqualified. The result was just as scientists expected. The alien pilot's memory bank completely stored his life's memories. It turned out that he came from a massive planet 300 light years away from the Water Drop Galaxy. This kind of arthropod calls itself the Zuheo people. As early as 20,000 years ago, they had reached level 2 civilization and began to expand their living space into the universe. They currently have more than 1,000 planetary bases, many of which are resource stars containing rare element minerals. Based on the memory bank of pilot Zuheo, Pajero scientists successfully found the home planet of the Zuheo people. Because there is a dark light belt with a width of several light years there, it has always been considered by the Pajero people to be a cosmic desert area. Unexpectedly, in the memory bank of pilot Zuheo, scientists found a complete dark light belt gap route coordinate map. According to this coordinate map, the Pajero fleet will be able to successfully pass through the terrifying dark light belt and reach the Zuheo starfield. This is simply a gift from the creator to the Pajero civilization. War, war, war. Some fanatical warriors can't wait to send a request for war to the Academy of Sciences. They want the Zuheo people to pay the price for wasting a shell from Pajero. Unlike the fanaticism of the warriors, the Academy of Sciences is more focused on the hundreds of Zuheo resource stars. According to the memory bank of the Zuheo pilots, these resource stars contain extremely abundant rare element mines. If these resource stars can be included in the hands, the strength of the Pajero civilization will be greatly enhanced. But at the same time, a strange problem arises. When Pajero scientists studied the brains of the Zuheo pilots, they found that their brain capacity was slightly below the wisdom warning line. What is the wisdom warning line? Just as Liemo was about to raise a question, the big-headed Pajero continued. There are hundreds of billions of intelligent species in the universe, and their IQ levels vary greatly, just like the sheepdogs on your Earth. Although they also have a certain IQ, it is not enough to form a civilization. After research, the Pajero Academy of Sciences found that the level of IQ is closely related to the brain capacity of carbon-based organisms. Perhaps brain capacity cannot determine the upper limit of IQ, but it can definitely determine the lower limit of IQ. So, after studying tens of thousands of intelligent organisms, the Pajero Academy of Sciences set an intelligence warning line. It is difficult for organisms below this warning line to rely on their own abilities to enter level 1 civilization. Through the explanation of the big-headed Pajero, Liemo understood a little bit that the IQ of organisms is related to many factors, but brain capacity is a hard indicator. Organisms with large brain capacity do not necessarily have high IQ, but organisms with substandard brain capacity must not have high IQ. Does our human brain capacity exceed the warning line? Liemo asked curiously. On the high platform, in the grey fog. 500%. The brain capacity of Earth humans exceeds 500% of the intelligence warning line and is at the forefront of the intelligent creatures that we Pajero people have studied. In fact, after I entered your brain in a two-dimensional projection, I sent your brain capacity back to the Pajero Academy of Sciences. The great scientists of the Academy of Sciences were very puzzled as to why Earth civilization has such a large brain capacity, but the development of science and technology is so slow. After a period of observation, I understand that you Earth people have a brilliant culture, and various types of entertainment activities have led to the diversion of wisdom. What a pity. What a pity. The big-headed Pajero sighed. Liemo, who was just proud of Earth civilization, was speechless at this time. Compared with those entertainment stars, Earth humans always pay only lip service to scientists. The big-headed Pajero continued. As the research deepened, Pajero scientists discovered a brain bomb near the pilot's brain. Subtle traces near the bomb's location showed that this bomb had been implanted in pilot Zuhao's brain when he was a child. After a detailed analysis of the brain bomb, scientists determined that the fuse of this brain bomb was linked to pilot Zuhao's brain nerves. In other words, this pilot from the Zuhao civilization could choose to detonate the bomb while being captured. However, Pajero scientists did not find the appearance of this bomb strange. After all, performing missions in the universe is a high-risk behavior. Once a pilot is captured by a hostile civilization, he can use self-detonation to protect the secrets of his own civilization. However, the Zuhao civilization is obviously a civilization that has not had much experience in interstellar wars. They don't understand that in the eyes of higher level civilizations, this little trick is just a futile approach. Even if this pilot has the opportunity to detonate the brain bomb, under our Pajero's technology, he will be resurrected as before. As for whether he is still him or not, it has nothing to do with me. Chapter 329, War. The big-headed Pajero ignored his embarrassment and continued. That is to say, although arthropods like Zuhao possess a certain degree of intelligence, their IQ level cannot support them to enter a level 1 civilization, let alone the threshold of a level 2 civilization. But existence is reasonable. The semi-light warp engine carried by the Zuhao spacecraft in front of us is enough for the Zuhao people to explore outside the star system and reach other star systems, which is enough to show that the Zuhao people are a standard level 2 civilization. With such doubts, the Pajero scientists opened the memory bank of pilot Zuhao and reviewed his life. There is no doubt in the entire memory bank, from hatching to receiving knowledge education in the larval stage, and then to becoming a pilot as an adult. His life trajectory is completely in line with the growth laws of individual carbon-based civilization creatures. The only doubt is that the order he received was only to detect abnormal movements in the dark light belt gap. He didn't have to drive the spacecraft through the dangerous dark light belt gap. Unexpectedly, an accidental operational error caused the spacecraft to be swept into the dark light belt gap by the vortex of time. What caused the pilot Zuhao to disobey orders and rush into the dangerous dark light belt gap? Unfortunately, his memory of driving the spacecraft through the dark light belt gap was not completely preserved. By studying those memory fragments, scientists did not find anything unusual. What is even more difficult to understand is that after crossing the dark light belt gap, and knowing that, if he continued to fly forward, the spacecraft's reserve energy would not be able to support him to return to the Zuhao starfield. Pilot Zuhao still flew straight to the water drop galaxy and turned off all communication equipment during the flight. Hiding behind the red dwarf star, he looked at the huge Pajero fleet in front of him without any fear. On the contrary, the excitement glands in his body violently pumped out a huge amount of excitement pheromones. Pilot Zuhao was excited, like a moth to a flame, firing an ion cannon at the Pajero spacecraft, and then was torn to pieces in joy. This is a suicidal act, which is completely inconsistent with the instinct of intelligent creatures. The Pajero Academy of Sciences, baffled by the surging will to fight among the people, could only temporarily suppress its doubts, and launched several reconnaissance ships to the Zuhao star region. These ships entered the Zuhao star region through the gap in the dark star belt only after completely eliminating the quantum traces. The information sent back by the reconnaissance ships is consistent with the information in the memory bank of the Zuhao pilot. The Zuheo people are only a level 2 civilization. Although they are also an expansionist civilization, their overall technological strength is far behind the Pajero civilization. War. The Pajero expeditionary fleet began to gather at the edge of the Teardrop Galaxy, and more than 5,000 reorganized fleets arrived one after another over the last supply star. Millions of space warships of various levels are densely arranged in an airspace of tens of thousands of kilometers in radius, so that the Pajero soldiers on the warships at the bottom of the queue cannot see the light from the outermost stars of the Teardrop Galaxy. These fleets are waiting for an order from the highest power in Pajero, the Pajero Academy of Sciences. And the great scientists of the Pajero Academy of Sciences have another important thing to do, which is to use the original cosmic microwave radiation to issue a pre-war manifesto stating that the Pajero people are going to the Zuheo starfield this time to fight back against the attack of the Zuheo spacecraft and will definitely not disrupt the stability of the universe. Although this manifesto composed of original cosmic microwave radiation will dissipate on the way out of the water droplet galaxy. But since the Pajero civilization entered the level 3 civilization before each war, the Academy of Sciences will issue this kind of war manifesto before the war. Maybe the reasons for the war used in each manifesto are different, but at the end it will definitely add a sentence will definitely not disrupt the stability of the universe. After confirming that the war manifesto has spread and dissipated in the water droplet galaxy, the great scientists of the Pajero Academy of Sciences finally issued an order to start the attack to the fleet ahead. From now on, until the end of the war, the Pajero Expeditionary Fleet will have full authority to attack, and it cannot retreat a single step without the collective vote of the great scientists of the Academy of Sciences. The gap in the dark light belt is a space channel about 100 kilometers wide and wriggling from time to time. Although the reconnaissance spacecraft sent back a detailed detection report when these Pajero warships went deep into the gap in the dark light belt, the commander of the ship looked through the glass window at the violent rolling outside not far away and the terrifying dark light that might pounce at any time, and it was inevitable that he was terrified. Every warship that accidentally falls into the dark light belt will be turned into ashes in the stagnant time. During the 5-universe-year voyage in the gap of the dark light belt, 280,000 Pajero spacecraft remained in the dark light forever. The accompanying warships only sent iron light waves to mourn them, and then began to move forward, because the Zuheo starfield was already close at hand and the war was about to break out. Looking at the shining stars in the starry sky, the command ship in the center of the fleet has turned on the full band shielding device, and no quantum communication waves can pass through the entire starfield. At this time, the Zuheo starfield has become a dark place in the universe. Everything that happened here will stay here forever. The energy shield above the battleship in front flashed purple light. The main brain split body completed the battlefield analysis in an instant. More than 5,000 reorganized fleets scattered according to the target galaxies assigned by the main brain split body. The Pajero people wanted to end this war in the shortest possible time. The process of the war was indeed as deduced by the omnipotent main brain. Facing the sudden attack, the terrified Zuheo people launched a hasty counterattack. However, their low-energy particle weapons were not enough to pose any threat to the Pajero battleship with energy shields. The level 3 civilization that carefully prepared for war fought against the level 2 civilization that rushed to meet the enemy. The result is self-evident. On the first cosmic day, the Pajero Expeditionary Force occupied 136 planets on the periphery of the Zuheo starfield. On the second cosmic day, the Pajero Expeditionary Force continued to advance into the starfield and occupied 218 planets. On the 10,278th cosmic day, the Pajero Expeditionary Force had occupied all the Zuheo star systems except the Triangle Galaxy. In this war, the Pajero Expeditionary Force lost a total of 160,000 Pajero warships, of which 150,000 were destroyed by the planets that the Zuheo people self-destructed. They occupied more than 1,000 planets, destroyed more than 80 million Zuheo space warships, and cleared more than 1 trillion Zuheo centipedes. The big-headed Pajero man paused when he narrated here, as if he was paying silent tribute to the martyrs. Liamo couldn't help but smack his lips. The level of civilization is insurmountable. The war between high-level civilization and low-level civilization is completely one-sided. At the same time, he also had a creepy feeling. Trillions of Zuheo people were cleaned up like garbage. The innocent Zuheo people just happened to stay on their own planet and live a small life. At this time, a group of interstellar robbers cleaned up them like garbage in the name of revenge. Although the Zuheo people who look like centipedes are a bit disgusting. But this is too cruel. What's even more cruel is that their deaths were labeled as cleaning up in the Pajero history books. Chapter 330 The Last Weapon of Civilization. Unaware of Liamo's distraction, the big-headed Pajero continued to narrate. The Triangle Galaxy is composed of 2 stars and a massive planet. The number and technological level of the Zuheo spacecraft in this airspace far exceed those of other galaxies. According to the star map provided by the Academy of Sciences, the massive planet in the galaxy should be the Zuheo people's home planet, Zuheo star. 3-body galaxy? According to the unpredictable principle of 3-body motion, the planets in the Triangle Galaxy will inevitably be destroyed under the gravitational pull of the 2 planets. Level 2 civilizations already have the ability to migrate in the universe, but they still place their home planet in the Triangle Galaxy? Liamo really couldn't understand this choice. Why did Zuheo choose the big planet in the Triangle Galaxy as a mother star? The big-headed Pajero laughed contemptuously. Why can't the big planet in the Triangle Galaxy be the mother star of intelligent life? 3-body motion? Ridiculous. The attitude of the big-headed Pajero made Liamo even more confused. He said, according to the unmeasurable principle of 3-body motion, planets in 3-body motion are inevitably affected by the catastrophic impact of stars, which will cause a devastating blow to the creatures on the planet. On the high platform gray fog rolled, and the big-headed Pajero seemed to be looking for a suitable word to explain. For a long time, do you remember what I said about the purpose of science? He suddenly asked. The purpose of science. Everything can be measured. The big-headed Pajero did not wait for Liamo to answer, and gave the answer directly, asking and answering himself again. Although the 3-body motion has no solution in the scientific system of the Earth, it does not mean that it can also become a difficult problem in the alien scientific system. In fact, according to the memory of pilot Zuheo, in history, when the Zuheo people just walked out of the forest and used resin to record, they had already solved the sword of Damocles hanging above their heads. Until they entered the first-level civilization, they already had the ability to slightly affect the orbit of the mother planet, and the threat of the star was lifted. In fact, this universe is full of malice towards intelligent creatures. Among the trillions of planets, no planet can perfectly meet the needs of life. For intelligent creatures, adapting to and transforming the mother planet can continue the fire of civilization. Because those civilizations that are not adapted to the mother planet have long been destroyed by the malicious universe in the evolutionary path. Some alien civilizations can actually solve the 3-body problem. Liamo asked excitedly, how did the Zuheo people solve the 3-body problem? According to the general rules of cosmic civilization, any specific scientific knowledge is strictly leaked, so your question cannot be answered. In the grey fog, the mechanical voice of the big-headed Pajero man came. Liamo, okay, go on. Since it's impossible to get scientific knowledge, it's nice to listen to stories. The big-headed Pajero continued. What surprised the Pajero Expeditionary Army was that the Triangle Galaxy was full of space-hidden particle mines. This defensive weapon, that a level 2 civilization can master, is simple but very practical. It has the characteristic of being unable to be detected by long-range waves, so it has greatly slowed down the pace of the Pajero Expeditionary Army. According to the calculations of the main brain, if we force our way through this minefield, we will lose at least 1/10 of our warships. This loss is not in the plan of the Pajero Academy of Sciences at all. If we want to pass through the minefield without damage, there is only one way left, and that is to use the shipborne high-energy ion cannon to completely activate the hidden particle mines in the entire airspace. Under the call of the main brain, the Pajero warships that had not yet completed the cleanup work only left a small number of warships to continue the cleanup, and the remaining main fleet began to encircle the Triangle Galaxy. After 210 cosmic days of uninterrupted rational bombardment by more than 1 million Pajero warships, every inch of space in the starfield near Zuheo Star has been cleaned by ion cannons, and the last base of Zuheo civilization is already within reach. Just as the soldiers on the Pajero battleship were looking at Zuheo Star, which was illuminated by 2 stars and could not distinguish between day and night, and cheering for the expedition's imminent victory, an accident happened. The surface of Zuheo Star suddenly emitted visible vibrations. The rocky crust began to crack, and the blue ocean, that originally occupied 1/20th of the planet's surface, quickly disappeared, and a superhole with traces of civilization appeared at the bottom of the ocean. This abnormal movement of Zuheo Star was transmitted back to the expedition command ship in the rear through timely images. The expedition commander on the command ship stopped the attack order, while ordering the operator to increase the power of the full band shielding device. Then, wait quietly. The Pajero fleet, which has the energy to destroy the entire galaxy in an instant, waited quietly above Zuheo Star. Commander Pajero, who has experienced countless civilization wars, understands that the superhole that suddenly appeared on Zuheo Star may be the last weapon of Zuheo civilization. Every civilization has weapons at the bottom of the box, and some may have unique technological roots. Compared with those resource stars, the great scientists in the Pajero Academy of Sciences who focus on studying super weapons are more interested in the last weapon of civilization. Although the power of the final weapons of these civilizations cannot be compared with the weapons of higher level civilizations, they must have gathered the wisdom of the entire civilization and have unique inspirational properties. This war is too boring. Please give us Pajero people a big surprise in the end. Commander Pajero looked at the screen, where the super void with energy fluctuations gradually appeared, full of expectations. Above the super void on the surface of Zuheo Star, the energy fluctuations are getting stronger and stronger. The naked eye can already see clearly that a blue iron flame suddenly spurted out from the hole with a diameter of tens of thousands of kilometers. The high-speed iron flame is as high as more than 2,000 kilometers. This is a super engine. Under the impetus of the super engine, Zuheo Star trembled, and the few mountains on the surface collapsed one after another in the tremor. Zuheo Star finally overcame inertia and slowly moved towards the direction of the nearest star. The sudden change in the trajectory of Zuheo Star broke the gravitational balance between the 3 star systems. Under the action of gravity, the 2 stars are speeding towards Zuheo Star. It can be predicted that the 3 planets will collide heavily before long. This dangerous situation did not cause any panic among the Pajero people, because they knew that the Academy of Sciences had already calculated everything. The last weapon of Zuheo civilization is suicide? Boring. Too boring. Waste of time. The commander of the Pajero Expeditionary Force was very disappointed. He issued a new order to the main brain. The Pajero fleet spent so many iron cannons, not just to watch a large-scale fireworks show. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 331 Star Extinction. A giant jet black battleship flashing with purple light gradually emerged from the empty space behind the command ship. Unlike the main battleships besieging Zuheoxing, this jet black battleship is not equipped with conventional weapons such as iron cannons and high energy beams. Only 2 10-centimeter holes on the bow of the giant ship highlight its identity as a battleship. The commanders of the Pajero fleet who were waiting for orders in the front saw the sudden appearance of the black giant ship on the big screen and exclaimed at the same time. The expeditionary force actually brought black this time. All Pajero battleships stay away from P12312 P32123 within 5 seconds. With the release of the order from the command ship, more than 1 million Pajero battleships in the front immediately scattered, and even the battleships far away from P12312 P32123 hurriedly retreated to the rear. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As the countdown ended, the black battleship let out a sharp roar, and 2 tiny light particles flashed dazzling light and ejected from the hole in the bow of the battleship. 1/1000th of a second later, the 2 stars in the Triangulum galaxy that were about to collide with the Zuhao star seemed to be hit by an invisible heavy punch. The huge star body quickly cracked from the core position, and the nuclear fusion under high temperature and high pressure was forced to interrupt, and the star went out instantly. Under the impact of tiny light particles, the 2 stars were instantly pulverized into the basic particles of the universe. The black basic particles gradually spread to the entire galaxy with the cosmic wind. In the cosmic space position of the Triangulum galaxy, only the Zuhao star, which was spewing iron flames, remained. Without the gravity of the star, its speed dropped rapidly, like an ugly potato, floating alone in the dark universe. When Liemo heard this, a creepy feeling came to his heart. The tragic Zuhao civilization activated the super engine used to adjust the trajectory of the planet, attempting to detonate the star at the end of the war and end the war. Unexpectedly, the Pajero people crushed the suicide attack of the Zuhao people with just 2 light particles. The last weapon of the current human civilization on Earth may be just a nuclear bomb that looks extremely powerful. At this critical moment of civilization destruction, facing the all-round technological suppression from alien civilizations, the nuclear bomb is just a small firework. It seems that under the technological suppression of high-level civilizations, any means of low-level civilizations are futile. Is the unknown meteorite flying straight to the Earth also a high-level alien civilization? How should the human beings on Earth deal with it? Thinking of this, his mood became heavier. The big-headed Pajero continued to narrate. The black giant ship that emitted the light particles disappeared again in the dark space silently, as if the scene just now was just an illusion, except that there are 2 less young stars in the universe from now on. Let's end it all. The commander of the Pajero expedition issued the final order. He wasted 2 light particles this time, and he will inevitably be questioned after returning to the mother planet. However, his sequence card stores an order from the 9th scientist of the Academy of Sciences. I think those turtles in charge of discipline can't do anything to him. After one cosmic day, there were no free Zuhao people on the Zuhao star, which was carefully cleaned up by the Pajero ground forces. From then on, there was no more civilization like Zuhao in the universe. Sadly, due to the existence of the full band shielding device, the Zuhao people did not have the opportunity to leave any trace in the universe until the end. The war is over, except for a small number of warships left waiting to be accepted by the subsequent development department. Most of the Pajero expeditionary fleet has begun to prepare to return. At this time, a special team of star observers boarded a fully functional exploration spacecraft from the command ship and flew to the Zuhao star that had just been ravaged by the war. Along the way, wherever this exploration spacecraft, which looked like a toy compared to those warships, passed, the Pajero warships hovering in the airspace avoided it because there was an ancient symbol engraved on the hull of the ship. This ancient symbol represented the highest power of Pajero, the Academy of Sciences. The exploration spacecraft landed at the capital of the Zuhao people. The whole city was shrouded in smoke. Fortunately, due to the special order of the expedition commander, the various facilities in the city were intact. It did not cause too much difficulty to the star observation activities. However, according to the records of the Grand Army's War Accord version, at the end of the war, the only remaining Zuhao people, whether civilians or soldiers, actually detonated the explosives placed in their brains in advance. This also led to an embarrassing situation. The star observers did not have any adult living captives to study. Among the trillions of Zuhao people, only about 20% actually died under the gunfire of the Pajero battleship. The rest committed suicide by detonating explosives in their brains after losing their personal freedom. This behavior of preferring death to unfreedom completely violates the instincts of carbon-based creatures. What are the instincts of creatures? Survival and the continuation of offspring, among which survival ranks first. However, the situation of collective suicide in front of them made the star observers dumbfounded. At this time, they thought of a special method of mind control, the thought stamp. Only creatures branded with the thought stamp can truly overcome the instincts of creatures. With this idea in mind, they randomly selected a fresh Zuheo person and resurrected him in the laboratory of the spacecraft. The result was very unexpected. In the brain of the resurrected Zuheo person, it was not a thought seal, but a complete memory seal. This result was far beyond the expectations of the star observers. They selected another Zuheo person and repeated the previous experiment. The result was still the same. There was also a complete memory seal in the brain of this Zuheo person, and there was no trace of the thought stamp they expected. The unwilling observers then specially selected hundreds of Zuheo soldiers as experimental subjects, and the results were the same. Perhaps the Zuheo civilization does not have the technology for thought stamping at all. A bold idea came to the minds of the observers, but a new problem arose. Since there is no thought stamping, what forced these Zuheo people to commit suicide by detonating brain bombs? The firm belief in science makes these observers believe that the probability of billions of Zuheo people overcoming their biological instincts at the same time is absolutely zero. Just when the investigation of the observers was in trouble, good news came. The Pajero warriors in charge of the cleanup accidentally discovered the Zuheo incubation base. Although the Zuheo people in the base also committed suicide in the same way, there are still a batch of Zuheo eggs that have not yet hatched in the incubation pool. According to preliminary tests, these Zuheo eggs have not lost their activity. Chapter 332 Zuheo Incubation Base. The overjoyed star observers drove their spaceships and arrived at the Zuheo incubation base according to the coordinates. What appeared before them was a pile of ruins, which had obviously been bombarded by iron cannons. Fortunately, the Zuheo people set up the incubation base in an underground cave 5,000 meters from the surface. Although the passage connecting to the surface collapsed during the startup of the super engine, the heavy-duty burrowing equipment carried by the Pajero cleaning team had opened the entire passage. After traveling in the dark for dozens of minutes, an incubation room that was as endless as could be seen appeared in front of the star observers. The rock walls of the cave, which were more than 600 meters high, were filled with densely packed incubation boxes. Through simple calculations, the number of Zuheo eggs in this incubation room was as high as 12 million, which made the star observers marvel at the reproduction speed of oviparous animals. Under the guidance of the Pajero cleaner, the star observers maneuvered the spacecraft to a Zuheo egg that was about to hatch. Looking at the Zuheo man who was about to break out of the shell in the incubator, they could not suppress their excitement. Nothing can better help them understand an alien civilization than to witness the birth of a life form with their own eyes. The star observers pointed all the recording and monitoring equipment at an incubator. In the incubator, a corner of the fist-sized Zuheo egg had been pecked, and two tender tentacles were trembling and stretching out of the eggshell. The Zuheo man was about to break out of the shell. Just then, an accident happened. An injection needle automatically extended from the top of the incubator and accurately pierced the head of the newborn Zuheo man who was still in the eggshell. A stream of brown liquid entered the Zuheo man's brain through the syringe. This scene stunned the star observers standing next to the incubator. After being injected, the Zuheo human was obviously in a sluggish state and had lost the vitality it had when it broke out of its shell. After 2 full hours, the newborn Zuheo human struggled with all its strength to crawl out of the eggshell. With a low hum, the green indicator light of the incubator flashed, and the incubator opened automatically. A mechanical arm stretched out from the top of the cave, accurately grabbed the struggling Zuheo human larva, and placed it on a conveyor belt. The star observers followed the conveyor belts, and came to a wide hall. Looking around, there were tens of thousands of conveyor belts hanging on the walls of the hall. It was obvious that the Zuheo people connected these conveyor belts to the incubators in the distance. From time to time, Zuheo young people arrived at the wide hall through the conveyor belts. Perhaps the Zuheo people in charge of the follow-up work had already self-destructed. The ground of the wide hall was filled with densely packed Zuheo young bodies, more than 10 meters thick. They squeezed their companions' bodies and kept squirming. Those Zuheo young bodies at the bottom were already in a dying state, and at this time, more Zuheo young bodies continued to fall from the conveyor belts in the sky. It was simply a slaughterhouse. Disgusting insects. Maybe this way of dying is also a kind of mercy. The star observers turned and walked towards the incubation area. They no longer cared about the fate of these insect young bodies, because just now, through observing the birth process of the Zuhao young bodies, they had determined that the answer the Academy needed was hidden in that syringe. Sure enough, after destroying an incubator, the star observers successfully obtained a complete syringe. By analyzing the brown substance in the syringe, they came to an unexpected result. This brown substance is composed of two components, one of which is a chemical substance that can paralyze the brain of an organism, and the other is a simple single-cell microorganism. It is not strange for these two substances to appear on Zuhao, but it is unusual to combine them together and then inject them into the brain of the newborn Zuhao larvae. According to the instinct of organisms will give priority to reproducing offspring and provide favorable conditions for their survival. Paralyzing the brains of offspring and then injecting a single-celled organism is obviously inconsistent with this instinct. Maybe the problem lies in this strange single-celled microorganism. With this idea in mind, the star observers selected a Pajero larva that looked relatively strong from the conveyor belt and then performed continuous live dissection in the spacecraft laboratory. Hearing this, Liemo once again raised his doubts. I understand that live dissection is a commonly used method in biological research on Earth, but what does continuous live dissection mean? On the high platform Grey Fog rolled. The big-headed Pajero man replied leisurely, in our Pajero technology, there is a special anatomical technique. After a creature is dissected continuously, everything inside it, such as fluid circulation, cells absorbing substances and releasing energy, microbial reproduction, etc., will be presented to the dissector, and in this process, all the physiological activities, sensory organs, and normal growth of the creature will not be affected in any way. An early scientist on the Pajero star once successfully used this method to record the life of the resurrected Gilu beast. The words of the big-headed Pajero man made a horrifying picture emerge in front of Liemo's eyes. The brain, eyes, limbs, stomach, intestines, and other organs of the early overlord of Pajero, Gudu beast were connected together by countless tubes and spread out on the test bench. It has not lost consciousness and can even use its eyes to see the Pajero scientists who are writing experimental records next to the test bench. Such a miserable life may be a year, 2 years, or even until the poor Gudu beast's life comes to an end. Being dissected alive while awake, and this dissection process may last for hundreds of years. Too sad. Liemo felt that perhaps there was no more evil means in the universe than this. As if sensing his emotional fluctuations, the big-headed Pajero man said, of course, the Pajero Academy of Sciences has also discovered that the continuous live dissection technology is not in line with the stability of this universe, and has issued a ban prohibiting any unit or individual from using this technology in the Pajero native area. Unfortunately, the Zuhao star that was just occupied does not belong to the native area of Pajero, so the star observers conducted this inhumane experiment on the poor Zuhao juvenile. Hearing the big-headed Pajero people's constant explanations, Liemo also understood that it was a bit too much for him to demand the alien civilization Pajero people to follow the morality of Earth civilization. They are not of my kind, so their hearts must be different. This is the case for the same species, not to mention that one is a mammal and the other is an arthropod. Even among humans, there are some people who invented the cruel dish of 3 screams to satisfy their appetite. I understand. Please continue. Chapter 333 Oak. The big-headed Pajero continued. During 170 cosmic days of uninterrupted observation, the Zuhao larvae in a state of live dissection gradually matured, and the star observers have completely found out the secrets of the Zuhao people. They recorded the genetic information of the single-celled organisms in the brown liquid, and then left Zuhao star on a spacecraft. Then, the star observers who returned to the command ship issued an order to the Pajero cleanup team through the commander of the Pajero Expeditionary Force, which was to carry out indiscriminate cleaning of all planets in the Zuhao starfield at the femtometer level. Femtometer level indiscriminate cleaning is the highest level of cleaning, which means that after the cleansing, there will be no living matter, and even single-celled organisms will not be able to survive after the cleaning. The Pajero cleanup team hesitated after receiving the order. After all, the energy consumed by the femtometer level indiscriminate cleaning is no less than that of this expedition. but the holographic signature attached to the subsequent order broke their doubts, because the last signature of the order was not the commander's name, but an ancient mysterious symbol. On the 150,321st cosmic day, the victorious Pajero expeditionary fleet returned to the Waterdrop Galaxy. Under the auspices of the Academy of Sciences, a grand celebration began. The names of all Pajero warriors who died in the war were engraved on the bottom layer of the civilization monument, which was a great honor for them. On the 150,287th cosmic day, the star observers who completed their mission returned to the Pajero Academy of Sciences, and with them appeared a formal report. In the report, the star observers believe that the Zuheo people are not the real main body of the Zuheo civilization. They are just the host of a single-cell organism, which they named Quercus. In the continuous live dissection of Zuheo larvae, the star observers found that the single-cell organism Quercus rapidly multiplied and occupied the functional areas of the brain. After being injected into the larva's brain, the Quercus that completed the invasion controlled the behavior of the Zuheo people by stimulating the Zuheo brain cells. Although a single Quercus does not have intelligence, the brains of trillions of Zuheo people are parasitized by Quercus, so there are trillions of Quercus in the entire Zuheo starfield. This is a large number close to the upper limit. One of the mysteries of life in the universe is that a very small number of simple organisms can make up for the defects of simple body structure through quantity, and there is a 1 in a billion chance of generating collective intelligence. The single-cell organism Quercus is a parasitic organism that has generated collective intelligence. They control everything in the Zuheo starfield by controlling the Zuheo people. Under the control of the Quercus, the Zuheo people built an incubation base to facilitate the newborn Zuheo larvae to accept the parasitism of the Quercus. The worried Quercus also imprinted the memory of the Zuheo people after their brains matured, so that the scene that happened in the incubator would never be recalled by the Zuheo people. When the Zuheo people mature, they will also be placed in the brain through surgery, a piece of high-energy explosives, so that the parasite Quercus can control the life and death of the Zuheo people at any time. The reason why the Zuheo people collectively self-destructed after being captured was because the Quercus in their brains issued a suicide order. A series of strict operations by the collective intelligent creature Quercus are enough to ensure that they will not be discovered by the Zuheo people. Poor Zuheo people. Maybe before they died they thought they were the masters of this planet, but in fact they were just hosts raised by the Quercus. The Zuheo people's civilization history of hundreds of thousands of years is actually just the evolutionary history of the Quercus. The report ends here, but the 9th scientist of the Academy of Sciences has made special comments on this report. Every time Big Head Pajero mentioned the great scientists of the Pajero Academy of Sciences, his tone would become particularly excited. It seemed that repeating the words of the great scientists was also a great honor. The Big Head Pajero said in a peculiar tone. Comment. Although the collective intelligent creature Quercus has hidden the traces of its own existence with strict operations, the wonder of this universe is that everything is full of coincidences. A pilot named Zuheo who was parasitized by Quercus encountered a time and space storm while exploring the dark light belt, and the spacecraft was almost drawn into the dark light belt. In the process, pilot Zuheo was affected by the dark light, and the Quercus parasitic in his brain completely died, and the unbreakable memory stamp cracked a little. Break away from the control of Quercus. The Zuheo pilot noticed the abnormality of the Zuheo civilization from his childhood memories. The parasitic control of the Quercus over the Zuheo people made him feel deeply terrified. The pilot Zuheo, who thought he had no hope, drove the spacecraft through the dark light gap. He wanted to stay away from the Zuheo starfield and the Quercus that enslaved his compatriots. But what can a biological individual separated from civilization do in this lonely universe? A strong sadness surged in his heart. At this moment, a large fleet appeared in front of the spacecraft. As a level 2 civilization, the Zuheo people immediately recognized that the level of civilization with such a fleet was far higher than the Zuheo civilization. And based on the various weapons and equipment hanging on the outside of these warships, he determined that this was a technological civilization. And the great need of technological civilization for cosmic resources determines that this civilization is often an expansionist civilization. They will not give up any opportunity to obtain resources. A bold idea came into his brain, which was completely out of control of the Quercus parasite, to attack them. Lead them to the Zuheo starfield and let those dirty parasites pay the price. Driven by this thought, he pressed the weapon launch button with his trembling fifth tentacle. The result was exactly as Pilot Zuheo had expected. Based on his memory bank, our Pajero civilization successfully arrived at the Zuheo starfield and destroyed the collective intelligent creature Roke. Of course, in the process, a small tragedy occurred, and all the Zuheo people were unfortunately lost. So far, the story of the Zuheo people ends. The big-headed Pajero finally stopped telling the story. This is a long story. Liemo was in a trance. A level 2 civilization that thinks it is the main body of civilization is actually just a parasitic puppet of a single-celled organism. The poor Zuheo people, their entire lives are just providing nutrients for the parasite Quercus. At this moment, he suddenly thought of a terrifying question. The human body on Earth is not a self-sufficient island in the world. It is more like a complex ecosystem, a huge society. Trillions of bacteria and other microorganisms parasitize on the skin, genitals, mouth, and especially the intestines of humans on Earth. The total amount of genetic information of these organisms is 200 times the total amount of human genetic information. Human life activities are inseparable from these bacteria and microorganisms, which control all aspects of the human body. So to some extent, it can be said that these bacteria and microorganisms dominate the human body on Earth. Then among these bacteria and microorganisms, is there also a kind of collective intelligent microorganism? Humans are just puppets of this kind of intelligent microorganism, and all the choices they make are also made under the stimulation of the brain by intelligent microorganisms. I'm no longer myself. Femtometer, also known as Fermi, abbreviated as FM, English, femtometer, American English, femtometer, is a unit of length, commonly used to measure materials at the nuclear level, equivalent to 1 × 10⁻⁻15 meters. Chapter 334 Fang Lanshan. The grey fog dissipated, and the big-headed Pajero man on the platform did not give any answer to Liemo's last question. He had to temporarily suppress this terrifying idea in his heart. The most important thing at present is the development of the spacecraft. Xiaoqing has just sent a continuous notice that the organizing committee of the Yanjing Mathematicians Conference hopes that Liemo can participate in the preparation of the conference. After all, those world-renowned mathematicians who came from afar are all coming for him. Without any hesitation, he asked Xiaoqing to decline the request of the organizing committee, but he promised to hold a 60-minute speech at the mathematicians conference. Boss, the former NCAA rocket designer that Daffy rescued from the United States wants to meet you. Just as he was about to handle his daily work, Xiaoqing knocked on the office door again. Liemo then remembered that according to the time calculation, the nerd should have arrived in Yanjing. That's right, in his impression, a Chinese went to the United States to engage in rocket research and development. What else is he, if not a nerd? He casually asked. Did the nerd pass the laboratory's entry test? Xiaoqing smiled slightly. He passed. IQ 230 points, character 9.3 points. An IQ of 230 is nothing. After all, if this nerd's IQ is not high, he will not be valued by the NCAA. Those foreign research institutions have always been committed to not keeping idle people, and once they are no longer useful, they will be kicked out immediately. But the character score of 9.3 really surprised Liemo. This score is higher than everyone in the laboratory. A scientist who returned from abroad actually has a character of 9.3. It's really weird. Is it a rough jade? Liemo instantly became interested. Let him come to my office. Xiaoqing nodded and left. 10 minutes later, a rhythmic knock on the door sounded. Liemo raised his head. Come in. A middle-aged man about 170 centimeters tall, thin, and wearing blue casual clothes pushed open the door of the office. Hello, Professor Lee. I'm Fang Lanshan. I came here to thank you for your help from afar. Lanshan and his wife and children were able to return to the motherland safely. Thank you. Fang Lanshan said, his eyes slightly red, and he bowed deeply at the door. This was not a prosperous thank you speech, but it revealed his sincerity. Liemo immediately stood up. It's just a small favor. Please sit down. Fang Lanchen tried his best to adjust his mood, leaned forward and sat on the sofa next to him, with his hands folded in front of him. Liemo took a playful look, which was a standard psychological defense posture. What are your plans after returning home this time? He knew that when dealing with this kind of nerdy scientist, he needed to say less polite words and get straight to the point. Too much empty talk would only cause their disgust. Fang Lanchen straightened his back. I have been doing rocket research in country M for half my life. I think I have a lot of experience in rocket design. I heard that Professor Lee is working on a space project. If you don't mind, Fang is willing to join you and contribute to Mosey Technology. Working for Mosey Technology, Liemo noticed Fang Lanchen's words. It seems that this former NCAA rocket designer is really scared. Of course, when we are hiring people at Mosey Technology, we welcome all scientists who are willing to work hard on the road of scientific development. Liemo paused here. But, do we have an account to calculate first? After saying that, he looked at the surprised Fang Lanchen opposite with a smiling look. Account? What? What account? Fang Lanchen almost jumped up from the sofa. Liemo was very satisfied with his attitude. He slowly pulled out 2 pieces of paper from the drawer of the desk and handed them over. This is the money spent to bring you back from country M this time. Please take a look. Fang Lanchen took the list of accounts with a dazed look on his face. Travel expenses, $510,000 social expenses, $3.6 million freighter expenses, $100,000 other expenses, $10,000 other expenses, $15,000 other expenses, $20,000 other expenses, $50,000 total, $5 million. $5 million? Fang Lanchen pointed to the dozens of other expenses on the list and asked, Professor Lee, what does this other expense mean? Liemo helplessly spread his hands. You ask me, who should I ask? It's impossible to issue an invoice for this kind of mission expenses. This is the list of expenses that Fei-je sent to Liemo after completing the mission. At the beginning, he also raised questions about the other expenses items, but Fei-je showed a strange smile on his face and said, "Men, you know." After that, he patted his butt and went to Europe for a vacation. Only Liemo was left with a confused look on his face. I don't know you. No matter what, the money was spent to save the rocket expert in front of him, so he should pay it back. Then I should pay back the money that was spent to save me. Fang Lanchen looked at the list of accounts, a trace of shame on his face. But I don't have any money now. All my $500,000 in Huahua Bank has been frozen. A top rocket expert has only saved $500,000 in so many years. Liemo asked in disbelief. Only $500,000? Did you buy a luxury car? No, although my salary is not small, but you also know that the cost in the United States is higher. The nursery is $30,000 a year, and a haircut is $100. The year before last, my father-in-law came to visit us and had appendicitis. Because he had no insurance, he spent $20,845.83. Fang Lanchen counted the daily expenses with his fingers with a bitter face. In order to integrate into the circle as soon as possible, I go out with my colleagues after work. It is also necessary to invite neighbors in the community to have dinner together on weekends. The money spent on this every year is as much as. Looking at the standard notebook in front of him, Liemo waved his hand to interrupt him from continuing to count. How much money do you have now? Fang Lanchen lowered his head and whispered, $10,300 and the $300 is a New Year's money that the child hid in his toys. Seeing his embarrassed expression, Liemo sighed silently in his heart. A penny can make a hero fall. The time has come. Liemo took out a thick drawing from the bookshelf and threw it in front of Fang Lanchen. This is a design manuscript. Take a look. If you can point out the major flaws in the design manuscript, your debt will be settled. Fang Lanchen immediately picked up the manuscript and read it carefully, as if this manuscript was his life-saving straw. Liemo sat at his desk, looking at the former NCAA rocket designer who was frowning and studying the manuscript carefully. His heart was full of expectations. I have spent so much energy. Don't let me down. Chapter 335. Third floor underground. The clock ticked. Tick tick. Half an hour passed. Fang Lanchen, who had been immersed in the manuscript, finally raised his head, his face full of confusion. Is this a spacecraft design? He widened his eyes. The goal of the Mosey Technology Laboratory's space project is actually a spacecraft. Liemo nodded slightly. It was simple to see this from the manuscript, and it didn't mean anything. Fang Lanchen, who got a definite answer, continued. According to the setting of 16 longitudinal and transverse engines in the manuscript, you did not use chemical fuel as the energy source of the spacecraft. Maybe. His eyes lit up. Maybe it's electricity. You will carry a high density energy similar to the Marxing battery on this spacecraft. Yes, it can be inferred from the drawings in a short period of time. This former NCAA rocket designer has some skills, but it is far from enough. Continue. Liemo was expressionless. From the drawings, it can be seen that the designer of this spacecraft seems to focus on the use of energy. The entire design is to maximize the use of energy. It seems that the external design has been somewhat neglected. There is no excessive consideration of the complex rings of the Earth's atmosphere, let alone the use of vacuum and space. The designer simply sets the vacuum to be empty and non-existent. Of course, there is nothing wrong with this setting in rocket design. After all, the main purpose of the rocket is to break through the atmosphere. But it seems a bit careless to design a real spaceship in this way. Fang Lanchen expressed his doubts. Not bad. Very good. In fact, this is a spaceship plan designed by 91,247. After seeing it for the first time, Liemo knew that 91,247's ability was not enough to serve as the main designer of the spaceship. Because 91,247 lacks a complete understanding of the vacuum. Because the vacuum in the universe is not an absolute vacuum, and there are many messy particle waves. The vacuum itself can be understood as a form of existence of matter. The vacuum has never been truly empty. From the ether to the Dirac sea, and then to the quantum field, there are more and more things in the vacuum, and they are becoming more and more wonderful. How to use the vacuum in the universe has also become a problem that must be considered when designing a spacecraft. The former NCAA rocket designer in front of him could actually see the flaws in the design manuscript in just 30 minutes. Rare. Liemo stood up and took the initiative to extend his hand. Comrade Fang Lanchen, welcome to join the Mosey Technology Laboratory. Fang Lanchen hurriedly stood up from the sofa. The two men's hands were tightly clasped together. What about the $5 million I owe you? Liemo took out a long prepared contract and handed it over with a smile. Sign it. Lifetime employment contract. The monthly salary fluctuates according to the Social Security coefficient. The current monthly salary is 200,000 yuan. Mosey Technology will deduct half of the salary every month as repayment for the installment debt. This Fang Lanchen signed his name on the contract without hesitation. Professor Lee, thank you. He bowed deeply again. Do you have a place to live now? Liemo helped him up. I'm temporarily living in my father-in-law's house. When the first month's salary arrives, I will go out and rent a house. Fang Lanchen replied. How can a grown man live in his father-in-law's house? Liemo pretended to be angry. Let's put it this way, the laboratory just happens to have an idle house, and the space project is an absolutely confidential project. It will be more conducive to your work if you live in the laboratory. Fang Lanchen nodded with red eyes. After being unilaterally dismissed by the NCAA, his life was full of gloom. The cold eyes of his former colleagues, the neighbors who came to eat barbecue together last weekend, saw him and hurriedly closed the door, and even his daughter was specially paid attention by the teacher in kindergarten. This malice from all sides almost made him collapse. Fortunately, his gentle wife supported him silently, so that he did not lose the courage to live. He still clearly remembers that one evening, a young man with the same skin color and the same face at the door holding a rose in his mouth, and said to him in the door casually, "Fellow countryman, do you want to go home?" The young man's exaggerated smile on his face emitted a bright sunlight under the reflection of the setting sun. The greatest sorrow of an adult is the loss of the value of being used. Now, in the Mosey Technology Laboratory, Fang Lanchen has seen his own value again. When he first stepped into the office, the panic on his face had long disappeared, replaced by a confident and resolute look. Liemo looked at the man in front of him with interest. His whole temperament had changed. He slowly said, I will ask the finance department to pay your first month's salary in advance and return the child's New Year's money. When he was a child, his mother confiscated his New Year's money for various reasons. He knew how sad it was for a child to lose a sum of wealth that he could freely dispose of. Fang Lanchen choked up and nodded heavily. The spacecraft designer Heng He is in place. The most important thing next is the spacecraft's engine. Liemo looked at his leaving figure and said to himself, with Fang Lanchen, who has rich experience in rocket design, joining the team, plus Frankenstein 91247, the design work of the spacecraft will surely be greatly accelerated. It's time, he said, turning on the security system in the office, then entered the office compartment and knocked on the wall rhythmically a few times. An elevator door appeared in front of him. Taking the elevator, Liemo came to the secret base on the 3rd floor underground. Welcome back. Tea or coffee? As soon as he stepped out of the elevator, a pleasant voice came into his ears. Tea, High Mountain Mist Tea. Liemo knew that this was the artificial intelligence Xiaohua showing off her new arm again. Sitting gently in front of the computer screen, a titanium alloy palm stretched out from the black box on the roof, and 5 fingers composed of metal joints were slightly bent, gently picking up the white porcelain teacup on the table. The thumb and index finger of the second titanium alloy palm lightly pinched a spoon and flew to the tea can in the locker. Trace amount? Xiaohua asked. Trace amount. I have been a little insomniac these days. Liemo nodded. A small amount of tea leaves spilled from the spoon into the white porcelain teacup. The titanium alloy palm flew over with a thermos pot. The boiling water was agitated and the tea leaves scattered. Thank you. Liemo reached out and took the white porcelain cup handed over by the titanium alloy palm. Take a sip, and the fragrance will linger on your lips and teeth. How is it? Xiaohua's anxious voice came from the speaker. Liemo was immersed in the fragrance of tea. Good tea. Xiaohua asked, how is the new arm? Oh, it looks quite flexible. Liemo realized that this cup of tea was brewed by Xiaohua using a precision mechanical arm. Xiaohua's boastful voice came from the speaker. Of course, these two arms designed by Xiaohua, with the ultra-clear sensing system, can achieve a control accuracy of 0.1 microns. 0.1 microns. Liemo was a little surprised by this number. Perhaps a new idea came to his mind. Chapter 336. Copycat Engine. Looking at the bronze metal object on the experimental table, and then gently stroking it with his hand, a cold feeling spread from the fingertips to the heart, and several shining strange symbols emerged on the surface of the object as he stroked it. Liemo took a deep breath. He knew that the key to the success of the spacecraft project was whether he could copy this broken low light speed ion energy engine from the Pajero 1,281,726 colony planet. According to the system's introduction, this engine has a power of up to 2.5 million horsepower. Even if the copycat has 1/10 of its power, it is enough to meet the needs of the spacecraft. Xiaohua, turn on your perception system. Liemo said. Just now, in order to prevent the artificial intelligence from observing his action of taking the engine out of the backpack, he deliberately temporarily turned off Xiaohua's perception system. Master, Xiaohua is here. Wow, where did such a beautiful machine come from? Xiaohua saw the engine on the experimental table and exclaimed. Beautiful? This strange metal body on the experimental table is not beautiful at all. What kind of aesthetics does this artificial intelligence have? Liemo shook his head helplessly. Master, why do I feel like I've seen this machine before? I seem to have seen it somewhere. But after checking all the memory banks, there is no similar metal body on Earth. Xiaohua asked doubtfully, after looking at it for a while. From the air jet at the tail, this should be an engine. But from the outside, it has a very different design style from the engines on Earth. Could it be? Xiaohua was almost close to the truth after some speculation. Liemo hurriedly said, no associations. He then remembered that Xiaohua's main program came from an alien civilization program, and this iron engine was made by Pajero. Maybe there is some origin between them. Thinking of this, Liemo said with a smile, Xiaohua, do you have the ability to copy this engine? Copy. Xiaohua didn't seem to understand his intention. A copycat is a copycat. Liemo was about to explain when Xiaohua's voice came from the speaker. A copycat refers to the behavior of imitating, copying, and plagiarizing in the products that come from it. Xiaohua understands what a copycat means. It's just that, even if you have complete drawings of this kind of product from extraterrestrial technology, it's hard to find the manufacturing materials. Xiaohua explained. Liemo had been mentally prepared for this problem. He didn't expect the copycat low light speed energy engine to have the full performance of the original. According to the plan, he planned to let the experimenters in the materials laboratory who had been idle for a long time to study the appearance materials of the engine. Then, according to the characteristics of these materials, copycat or find substitutes. Xiaohua, if I ask you to analyze this engine and get the complete drawings, how long will it take? Liemo thought for a while and then said, it's a good opportunity to verify the laser molecular analyzer I designed for you. The laser molecular analyzer installed in my body doesn't seem to be Earth's technology, right? Xiaohua's puzzled voice came from the speaker. Is it also your copycat work? Ahem. This question made Liemo a little embarrassed. The laser molecular analyzer was indeed made by him, based on the principle of the cryophoton microscope, but due to the limitations of Earth's technology, he could only choose high-energy lasers instead of cryophotons as the catalyst medium of the analyzer. For reference, I just borrowed the design ideas of that alien microscope. Liemo corrected Xiaohua's words. Scientific things, even if I tell you, you won't understand. Anyway, even if those aliens come to sue, they can't win. Liemo is not bragging, as long as those alien companies that come to sue don't come on armed spaceships, they will never win such infringement lawsuits on Earth. Okay, Master, I will do a preliminary analysis of this engine. Perhaps Xiaohua was intimidated by his power and said timidly. The black box on the top of the laboratory emitted an extremely bright red laser. This seemingly powerful high-energy light suddenly forked when it approached the test bench and stimulated countless laser beams of slightly lower brightness. The laser beam covered the engine on the test bench like a big net, and then a yellow light particle the size of a soybean climbed out from the black box. The light particle slowly moved down along the laser beam and gradually approached the engine covered by the beam. Finally, the yellow light particle touched the shell of the engine and began to gradually flood the inside of the engine. The bronze shell of the engine suddenly shone brightly, and mysterious symbols emerged. The next second, the yellow light particle that had not yet been completely flooded was excluded and instantly dissipated in the air. Is this a failure? Liemo looked at the scene in front of him in disbelief. The yellow light particle was used to detect the polymerization laser inside the engine. This engine was actually equipped with protective measures. Xiaohua's voice came from the speakers. According to the information detected, when the light particles penetrated the engine shell, there is a set of elastic light wave blocking system hidden under the shell of this engine. Hearing this, Liemo understood instantly. The Pajero spacecraft in space must have the ability to work in various harsh environments in the universe, so anti-interference becomes an indispensable function of the spacecraft. Therefore, the low-speed energy engine will have a system to block light waves. After thinking for a moment, Liemo said to Xiaohua, "Great force works miracles. Xiaohua, increase the power." When a civilization is studying high-tech works that are much more advanced than its own civilization, it often encounters some difficult problems to solve. At this time, Great Force Works Miracles becomes the only choice. Just like when he was very young, the most valuable electrical appliance in his home, the TV, often had no response after being powered on. At this time, he would hit the TV hard, bang and bang a few times. Under the action of this brute force, the TV will return to normal in 9 out of 10 cases. Okay, Master. Maybe Xiaohua couldn't understand why the miracle of great power could be applied to such a micron-level precision engine, but this did not affect her execution of Liemo's orders. But the main power supply in the laboratory made a noisy sound. 1 million W. Xiaohua made a slightly trembling voice in the speaker. A thumb-sized yellow light particle flowed down from the black box, and this time the light particle moved much faster. In an instant, it had flowed along the laser beam to the engine shell. Then, it slowly flooded. The engine shell once again emitted a dazzling light, and mysterious symbols emerged one after another. Liamo's heart was raised in the air. The flooding of the yellow light particles seemed to be blocked by the mysterious power, and there was no sign of infiltration. But the noise from the main power supply became louder and louder, and the yellow light particles shone brightly. Finally, the mysterious symbol on the bronze shell of the engine was instantly extinguished, and the yellow light particles completely disappeared inside the engine. The intrusion has been completed, and the internal structure of the engine is ready to be copied. Xiaohu's slightly joyful voice came from the speaker. The remains of a broken low-light speed ion energy engine. Reward for completing the system mission. Scientist self-esteem mission. See chapter 256 for details. Chapter 337 late. In the laboratory on the second floor underground, Liamo turned off all the lights, leaving only a desk lamp. He sat in front of the computer desk, concentrating on the complex symbols that kept scrolling on the computer screen. Master, it is estimated that it will take 72 hours to analyze the engine. Do you need another cup of coffee? Xiaohu's voice came from the speaker. Xiaohu's voice interrupted Liamo's thoughts. He looked at his mobile phone, then looked at the watch on his wrist, and stood up. No, I have a small meeting to attend later. Please notify me immediately after the engine analysis is completed. Okay, master. Xiaohu replied in an attached tone. Liamo shook his head, and he went back to the office through the dedicated elevator without looking back. Because today is a day when the International Mathematical Union holds a mathematician conference in Yanjing, he saw more than 100 missed calls on his mobile phone with the do not disturb mode turned on. Among these missed calls are the executive secretary of the International Mathematical Union, Xiaoqing, and the chairman of the preparatory committee of the Yanjing Mathematician Conference. He seemed to have forgotten the mathematician conference. Back in the office, Liamo dialed Xiaoqing's phone as soon as possible. He believed that as a qualified assistant, Xiaoqing must have arranged everything. The call was connected in less than a second, and Xiaoqing's anxious voice came. Boss, where have you been? The Mathematicians Congress has already started. According to the conference process, the award ceremony should have been held immediately, but it has been postponed several times by Chairman Parade. According to the call from the preparatory committee, more than 3,000 internationally renowned mathematicians at the conference expressed serious dissatisfaction with your delay. The conference has even shown a trend of interruption. Professor Labrador, who was arranged by the International Mathematical Union to give a speech, said that he would not go on stage unless he saw this year's Fields Medal winner. Even under his instigation, Professor Zilling, who was arranged to speak, gave up the opportunity to speak. Professor Labrador in Paris? Liamo couldn't remember any deep friendship with him, and didn't know why he worked so hard. But mathematicians are famous for their stubbornness among all scientists. It is conceivable what kind of state the International Mathematical Union and the Yanjing Preparatory Committee are in now. Come and pick me up immediately. He interrupted Xiaoqing. 10 minutes later, a convertible new energy sports car, driven by Xiaoqing, rushed towards the Xinguang building in Wulaton at lightning speed. Woo woo. I wonder why you drove a convertible today. Woo. At a very high speed, Liamo felt that the air in front of him was like a sticky wall. Ah. What did you say? Xiaoqing manipulated the convertible and drifted to avoid the oncoming truck, her hair fluttering in the wind. Liamo immediately grabbed the co-pilot's armrest. Nothing, just concentrate on driving. He didn't want the next day newspapers around the world to publish news such as God is jealous of talents. Famous mathematician Professor Liamo died in a car accident on the way to receive the Fields Medal. Fortunately, perhaps the convertible's unique Galabi liquid blue appearance was too eye-catching, and the vehicles on the road avoided it. After Xiaoqing parked the convertible steadily at the main entrance of the Xinguang building, Liamo opened the door and jumped out of the car. He rushed to the trash can. This was the first time in his life that he experienced a series of physiological reactions caused by the brain's misjudgment of the body's movement state. Boss, coming quickly. Xiaoqing handed a wet tissue to the back. Thank you. He wiped his face hastily with the wet tissue. Liamo used his hands to tidy up his messy hair. He stepped into the Starlight building. As soon as he entered the building, a little fat man with a Mediterranean sea on his forehead ran up. Professor Liamo, you are finally here. Thousands of mathematicians from all over the world are waiting for you. You don't know how stubborn those old mathematicians are. In order to appease them, Secretary General Zhao almost performed a white silk hanging on the rostrum. The little fat man gestured vividly with his hands. Liemo nodded slightly to apologize. I was so engrossed in my research that I forgot the time. Is it not too late now? The little fat man nodded and bowed. Not too late. Not too late. The white silk has not been bought yet. Please come this way. As he said that, he led Liemo towards the venue, picked up the intercom and called, Secretary General Zhao, Professor Liemo has arrived. He is on the way to the venue and is expected to arrive in 2 minutes. Oh my god, we are finally here. Yaodan, please take the professor to the lounge immediately. The three of them took the elevator to the 16th floor of the Starlight building. After walking through the long corridor, the little fat man pushed open the door of a room. Professor Lee, this is the lounge prepared for the conference. Please wait a moment. The president of the International Mathematical Federation will be here soon. Before he finished speaking, a bearded man speaking broken Chinese came over. Dilly, my savior, if you showed up half an hour later, I would be torn to pieces by those old stubborn people. Especially that Professor Labrador, he really lives up to his name. As he said that, the bearded man kept shaking his head. Liemo immediately recognized the bearded man as the executive chairman of the International Mathematical Union, Pallad, a second-rate mathematician from the United States. His greatest achievement in life was publishing several popular science books on mathematics. However, it was these popular science books, whose combined sales did not exceed 10,000 copies, that earned him the title of mathematician and a ticket to join the International Mathematical Union. What surprised most people was that this second-rate mathematician won the election held by the International Mathematical Union by a narrow margin of 1 vote over the discoverer of the supertopological equation, Professor Aulis, a top figure in the mathematics world, and became the head of this global mathematician exchange organization. However, Pallad, who became the executive chairman, showed extraordinary organizational skills. He single-handedly turned the loose organization of the International Mathematical Union into a tight structure. The regularly held international competitions and mathematician exchange activities have made the International Mathematical Union's reputation soar. The old mathematician in Europe said that Pallad was the best mathematician in politics and the best politician in mathematics. Faced with this mixed evaluation, Executive Chairman Pallad smiled slightly and immediately increased the budget of $5 million for the publication of the old mathematician's new book. Faced with such an outstanding politician in the guise of mathematician, Liemo knew that he could not take it lightly. His face was immediately filled with smiles. Chairman Pallad, although I have not joined the International Mathematical Federation, I deeply admire your contribution to the promotion of mathematics. You are too kind. Compared with Professor Lee's full-field mathematical knowledge and genius logical thinking in solving mathematical problems, my meager contributions are not worth mentioning. Pallad's narrowed eyes flashed with a gleam of light. The award ceremony is about to begin. Do you want to change your clothes? The preparatory committee has prepared 2 sets of well-fitting new suits for each guest who will give a speech on stage. Liemo looked down at the plaid shirt on his body. Although it was wrinkled, it still looked very clean. He shook his head. No need. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 338 Fields Medal Award Ceremony. At the International Congress of Mathematicians, a young mathematician was standing on the rostrum, sweating slightly under the expressionless gaze of many bigwigs. So far, it can be shown that the Liemo mathematical theory is also valid under the condition of smooth linearity. Thank you everyone. He hastily finished his speech and stumbled down the stage. While many bigwigs refused to give speeches, this lucky young mathematician received a temporary invitation from the Congress Committee. It is such an honor to express one's mathematical insights to the world in front of the mathematical bigwigs at the Mathematicians Congress. He knew very well why this opportunity to speak fell on him, an unknown young scholar. The World Mathematicians Congress is a place where outstanding mathematicians from all over the world gather. It is the dream of every mathematician to be able to stand on the stage of the Congress. This unattainable dream has now become a reality. He mustered up his courage and walked onto the stage. Unfortunately, he was naive and underestimated the determination of the mathematical bigwigs to fight against the International Federation of Mathematicians. They sat expressionlessly in the audience, but their eyes revealed a look of severe sanctions. Feeling timid, he finished his speech stutteringly. At this moment, he was sure that his careless behavior had offended most of the big names in the mathematics world. After the young scholar left the stage, a bearded man holding a microphone and with a red face walked onto the stage. It turned out to be President Pallad. There was a commotion in the venue. President Pallad actually presided over the meeting himself. Although they were not afraid of this second-rate mathematician, they had to admit that it was under Pallad's leadership that the International Mathematical Federation was increasingly valued by the society. Could it be that just when the mathematicians in the audience realized that things might have changed, Parade said excitedly in the face of the smile, the Fields Medal ceremony will be held this year. He is a shining planet in the universe. He is a superpower in transportation and industry. He is a surging chip in the computer. He has crossed mathematical peaks one after another. He has surpassed mathematical predecessors one by one. Yanda is proud of him. The world applauds him. He is the unique Professor Liemo. Jin dedicates this crude work to the great Professor Liemo. In front of thousands of mathematicians and hundreds of cameras from major media around the world, Parade sang a modern hymn with great emotion. Liemo, who was waiting to go on stage backstage, had 1,000 grass mud horses galloping through his heart. He deserves to be the most political among mathematicians. This level of flattery is really too high. After a perfect performance, Parade waved his arms and shouted loudly with a red face. Next, please welcome the undisputed winner of this year's Fields Medal, Professor Liemo from Mosey Technology, to the stage. Everyone applaud and welcome him. Papa. With warm applause, Liemo stepped onto the stage, walked straight to President Pallad, and took the initiative to extend his right hand. Thank you, President Pallad of the International Mathematical Union. Under your leadership, the International Mathematical Union is radiating vitality. Welcome, Professor Liemo. Your Gold Badges book perfectly presents the wonders of mathematics to the world. The mathematical community is honored by you. The words of praise from the two people were transmitted to the whole world through the cameras under the stage. President Pallad of the International Mathematical Union took a tray from the etiquette lady, bowed slightly, and solemnly handed it to Liemo. Liemo looked at the gold medal with Archimedes' head on it, and couldn't help but think of the famous saying that this ancient Greek philosopher, encyclopedic scientist, mathematician, physicist, mechanic, and founder of static mechanics and fluid statics once said, "Give me a fulcrum, and I can lift the earth." In the classical era, when modern science was just budding, Archimedes had such ambitions, which made Liemo admire him. As for the check for the prize of 15,000 Canadian dollars in the tray, although it is far from being comparable to the high prize of 1.1 million US dollars of the Nobel Prize, their significance is the same. The birth of the Fields Medal is very similar to that of the Nobel Prize. It was the Canadian mathematician J.C. Fields who devoted his life to promoting the development of mathematics and international exchanges between mathematicians. Before his death, he made a will and used his legacy to establish this International Mathematics Award, the Fields Medal. Thank you. Thank you to the International Mathematical Union for nominating me as the winner of this year's Fields Medal. Liemo handed the tray back to the etiquette lady next to him and bowed deeply to the audience. At last year's Nobel Prize ceremony, I had a small idea, that is, how great it would be if I could win a Fields Medal. But I know it is more difficult because the Nobel Prize is awarded every year, while the Fields Medal is awarded only once every 4 years. Unexpectedly, my wish has finally come true today. His words caused a round of cheers from the audience. A Nobel Prize winner said that it is more difficult to win the Fields Medal, and this statement was praised by the mathematicians in the audience. Mathematics, as the mother of science and the foundation of natural sciences such as physics and chemistry, has been ignored by the Nobel Prize. This is something that mathematicians all over the world cannot tolerate. Although there are rumors that Nobel, the founder of the Nobel Prize, had a girlfriend who was 13 years younger than him, this girlfriend later eloped with a mathematician, which greatly stimulated Nobel. He never talked about marriage from then on, and remained a bachelor until the end of his life. It was also because of this incident that Nobel deliberately excluded mathematics when establishing the Nobel Prize. Although there is no mathematics prize in Nobel's will, the Royal Academy of Sciences, as the awarding committee, should follow the trend of the times and add the Nobel Prize in mathematics, just as they added the Nobel Prize in economics. But the arrogant Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences has never been interested in adding mathematics to the Nobel Prize. This has to make these mathematics professors very dissatisfied. Liemo pressed his palm down slightly, indicating silence. According to convention, I should make a speech of acceptance, but before that, I would like to solemnly apologize to all the professors and scholars who are here. Because I was immersed in research in the laboratory, I almost missed the Great Fields Medal ceremony, and made you wait for so long. Please forgive me. As he said this, he bowed slightly to apologize. There was a burst of noise from the audience, accompanied by several gray-haired old professors standing up, and the mathematicians in the venue also stood up one after another. They bent down deeply at the same time, to respond to Liemo's apology. The world's most famous scientist, a young leader in mathematics, and the winner of this year's Fields Medal actually bowed to them, and apologized at the award ceremony. This attitude has surpassed their perception of bigwigs. On the rostrum, the president of the International Mathematical Federation, pallid, stood quietly by the side, watching everything happening in front of him, with a few gleams in his eyes. A young man stood on the rostrum, bowed slightly to apologize, and thousands of professors of different ages in the audience bowed deeply in response. Hundreds of cameras faithfully presented this legendary picture to billions of viewers around the world. Chapter 339 Everything can be counted. My acceptance speech is more of a question than an acceptance speech. Liemo calmed down his excitement, motioned the professors to take their seats, and then began to give his acceptance speech. Everyone knows that mathematics is the foundation of all natural sciences and the most powerful tool for exploring science. The ultimate goal of physics is to study the most basic forms and laws of motion of all matter, from the universe to elementary particles, through various scientific means. The ultimate goal of chemistry is to clarify the molecular and atomic levels, study the composition, properties, structure, and laws of change of matter, and create new substances. So what is the ultimate goal of mathematics? Do you know? A young man stood under the spotlight of the rostrum and asked thousands of mathematicians in the audience, and at the same time, asked a question to mathematicians all over the world. Yes, what is the ultimate goal of mathematics? Study various combinations of numbers, equations, and formulas, and then use them to solve various problems? Or to provide tool support for physics and chemistry? Nonsense. Mathematics is mathematics. It is not born for any subject. The day mathematics was born, physics did not exist yet. Mathematics is the most concise language of the universe. It describes a real universe with unparalleled logic. The mathematicians in the audience were talking about it. They spent their entire lives studying mathematics. Mathematics was everything to them. But now the words of this young man made them feel like they were hit by a wake-up call. When studying economic phenomena, economists said, "Hey, math students, go build a mathematical game model." Biologists studying plants would say, "Mathematics brother, help me build a diverse statistical model." Writers who are writing science fiction novels would say, "Mathematics master, help me calculate the three-body problem." Mathematics is no longer an independent discipline, but has become the nanny of other natural disciplines. So what is the ultimate goal of mathematics? This deafening sentence echoed in their hearts. They raised their heads and looked at the young man under the spotlight. They knew that, if it were in this world, no one would be closer to the pinnacle of mathematics than this young man. Amid thousands of pairs of expectant eyes, Liemo said slowly with a serious face, "Everything is countable. Mathematics can be used to describe the clarity of a gurgling stream, the violence of a storm, the coldness of a black hole, and the masculine flames of a star. Everything in the universe can be expressed with mathematics and numbers. This is the ultimate goal of mathematics. Everything is countable." There were exclamations from the audience. This idea was too bold. Although mathematics has developed from the initial 4 arithmetic operations of Arabic numerals to a huge discipline with 26 branches after so many years of development, it is still far from the goal of everything is countable mentioned by Liemo. Even the process of a drop of water dripping into a bottle is difficult to describe even with the most cutting-edge mathematical knowledge. I know that everyone has doubts about this ultimate goal, and I also know that it will take thousands or even tens of thousands of years to achieve this goal. But isn't a world where everything is countable the ideal world in the hearts of us mathematicians? Liemo's words triggered a wave of approval. If you ask a real mathematician what he hates most, their answer will definitely be the uncertain unknown. Under the influence of the warm atmosphere at the conference, Liemo on the podium suddenly felt that a meteor passed through his mind, illuminating an area he had never discovered. "I need a blackboard," he said to a volunteer wearing a red hat next to him. The girl with a ponytail was stunned for a moment, then realized that the big guy was talking to her. She blushed and ran backstage. After a while, 2 volunteer students pushed a huge blackboard onto the podium. Liemo picked up a piece of chalk, closed his eyes and thought deeply. He tried his best to recall the inspiration just now. What is this big guy going to do? The professors in the audience were closely watching his every move. Finally, Liemo took the chalk and began to write on the blackboard. Set A equals 0, B equals 1. According to the lemma conversion, we can get convert again. It can be clearly seen that the values of A and B are certain, so the blackboard was instantly filled with mathematical conversion formulas. This time, without waiting for his instructions, the volunteer students who were guarding next to him immediately pushed out a new blackboard from the backstage. Liemo continued to write, set the mass of an apple to 200 g according to the lemma constant obtained above. At this time, he stopped writing and closed his eyes to think again. A bearded man in unruly clothes suddenly stood up and exclaimed, "This is an apple." Professor Liemo is describing an apple with pure mathematics. Point woo. The 2 colleagues beside him stood up and covered his mouth. In the front row, an old professor tapped the ground with his cane, lowered his voice and said, "Everyone is quiet, don't interrupt Professor Lee's train of thought." Thousands of mathematicians in the audience held their breath and the venue fell into silence in an instant. Can he do it? He can do it. God bless you. At this time, Liemo in front of the blackboard tried his best to activate every brain cell in his brain, trying to catch the afterglow of the meteor. Almost there. He was just a little bit away from the secrets of mathematics. Beads of sweat dripped from his forehead to the ground, breaking the silence of the venue. The meteor that was about to go out in his mind magically flickered at the last moment. With the faint light, Liemo finally saw it clearly. That's it. He didn't bother to wipe the sweat from his forehead, picked up the chalk, and continued to write on the blackboard. According to the 3-dimensional lemma conversion formula, it can be obviously seen that a multidimensional matrix group F can be obtained from this. This multidimensional matrix group is the pure mathematical expression of this apple. After writing the last exclamation mark, Liemo felt his mind go blank. He gently put down the chalk, turned around, and said loudly, "From this we can see that, based on the lemma constant, it is entirely possible to use pure mathematical methods to describe an object that exists in nature." Pa 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 pa. Pa 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 pa. Or thunderous applause rang out, and the mathematics professors in the audience stood up from their seats at the same time. Genius. Terrible genius. Pure mathematics, the hidden mysteries of the universe, was unexpectedly proved by Professor Liemo improvisation. Liemo pressed his palm down slightly, and the conference site was instantly silent. He looked into the distance, as if penetrating the dome, looking at the mysterious space. This shows that it is not impossible for everything to be countable. Chapter 340 Pure Mathematics. How desirable it is to have a world that can be described by numbers. Everything is countable. Everything is countable. The white-haired old professors in the front row stood up first, and under their leadership, the audience rang out in neat and loud slogans. This classic picture in the history of human civilization was faithfully recorded by the camera and engraved in the history of mathematics and human civilization 1,000 years later, becoming the first mathematical knowledge that every young child in the Enlightenment period came into contact with. This award ceremony was also recognized by later historians as a turning point in human civilization because of the goal of everything is countable proposed by Professor Liemo. Since then, mathematics has gotten rid of its subordinate status to other sciences and has become the most powerful weapon to directly solve the mysteries of the universe. What the International Mathematical Union never expected was that the speakers arranged by the conference withdrew their original speeches and replaced them with a similar topic: how to achieve a world where everything is countable. The style of the entire mathematician conference suddenly changed. On the podium, what came out of the mouths of those old-fashioned mathematicians was not a logically rigorous mathematical formula, but a mathematical fantasy. In the fantasy, they abandoned the traditional way of describing the world using physical and chemical methods, and instead used mathematical language to fully express the world. In the following days, these mathematicians from all over the world used all their energy to discuss how to use mathematical language to describe some simple things. Professor Pista from Norway used mathematics to describe a nail. Mathematician Gumeod from Greece used mathematics to describe a stool. As the discussion deepened, mathematicians found that current mathematics is only applicable to describing static and internally stable objects. When outlining and describing things in motion or things with internal activities, concise mathematical language seems pale and powerless. A team of 10 people headed by the last Fields Medal winner Selberg tried to use pure mathematics to describe a drop of rainwater. In the process of description, they were stumped by the inward flow caused by the uneven distribution of gravity inside the raindrop. In classical physics, scientists would consider this drop of water as a whole, and then calculate the speed, mass and other information of the drop according to the gravity of the earth and the air resistance of the drop. However, this overall calculation method obviously ignores the influence of the inward flow of the drop on the external air resistance. This calculation result is completely valid at the macro level, but when it comes to microscopic movement, it is full of errors. As the initiator of pure mathematics, Liemo naturally joined this discussion. When faced with the various shortcomings of current mathematics in the process of describing the world with mathematics, he had an idea: to create a new branch of mathematics. Thus, the new branch of mathematics, pure mathematics, was born in front of famous mathematicians all over the world. It has only one purpose and use, that is, to describe the world in a complete mathematical language. Mathematical celebrity, the pioneer of topology, Professor Ajoaji immediately announced at the conference that he would change his mind and focus the rest of his life on studying pure mathematics. Professor Zain Ras, a Fields Medal winner and permanent member of the International Mathematical Union, expressed his willingness to contribute his meager remaining life to the development of pure mathematics. Pure mathematics was proposed by Liemo and immediately welcomed by all mathematicians in the audience. They knew that, although this new branch of mathematics was still immature, its emergence was of great significance to the exploration of the unknown universe. The Starlight Building is located in the prosperous commercial district of Yanjing. When night falls, the neon lights on the building flash, attracting the attention of many tourists. Point beep beep beep. Accompanied by a roaring engine sound, a wine-red Ferrari 911 appeared on the street. Through the half-flowered passenger window, the cone face, big eyes, high nose bridge, and straight eyebrows, although only a brief glimpse, was enough to make curious passers-by marvel at the standard internet celebrity face of the passenger woman. The Ferrari 911 stopped directly in front of the revolving door of the Starlight Hotel. In the main driver's seat, a fat middle-aged man took off his sunglasses with his chubby hands, and his face was full of greasy smiles. Xiaomei, how is this hotel? This. Xiaomei is a girl under 20 years old. She is applying lipstick to her purple lips under the weak light. It doesn't look good, brother. Heyo. I heard from that bitch Xiaolan that you took her to a 5-star hotel last time. Why are you reluctant to spend money here? Forget it, I'm tired today, take me back. As she said that, she put the lipstick into her small bag angrily. Brother Heo had a wicked smile on his face. You know that Ziolan and I are just playing around, and I'm sincere to you. Humph. Who knows how many girls you have said this to? Ziome's face was full of anger. Really, I brought you to an international 5-star hotel today. The big bald guy who played the robot war last time stayed here when he came to China. Brother Heo knew that this kind of girl was just pretending to be angry. Xiaomei looked disdainful. Old-fashioned. That's called Transformers. The big bald guy is Stanley. So handsome. Yes, Stan is handsome with a bald head. Brother Heo said perfunctorily. Okay, but I want the presidential suite, but it's the kind with a bubble bath. Xiaomei's eyes lit up. Brother Heo nodded happily. Yes, my queen. He just when he was thinking that he could have a good night, a hotel employee in a security uniform came up. Sir. Brother Heo was in a very good mood. He took out $200 bills from his wallet and handed them over along with the keys. Little brother, please park my Porsche in a good parking space. The employee of the Starlight Hotel did not reach out to take the car keys, but bowed slightly. Sir, we are full. Full. Brother Heo's small eyes revealed a dazed look. The most expensive presidential suite is also full. Full. I'm really sorry. The hotel employee bowed again to apologize. The confusion on Brother Heo's face was replaced by anger. He waved his strong arms and shouted loudly, "What a joke. There was a discount when I came last time. Is this how you treat customers? Let the manager come out." As he said that, he slapped the hood of the Porsche 911 with his fat hands. Okay, what other women have you brought here? At this time, the girl in the passenger seat also got out of the car and just heard what he said. Brother Heo's fat face trembled and he turned around and shouted viciously, "Shut up, little bitch. Go, let your manager come out. If you don't give me a satisfactory explanation today, I will close your hotel." Believe it or not. Chapter 341 International Union of Pure Mathematics. The hotel staff was about to take out the intercom. Beep. Beep. The sirens blared nearby, and a police car parked in the corner turned on its lights. 2 armed policemen came over. "What's going on with you?" Seeing the police coming, the hotel staff immediately reported, "Comrade police officer, this guest wants to stay in the hotel. I have already told him that the hotel is full, but he is still pestering here." At this time, Heoje was dumbfounded. These 2 policemen holding guns were obviously not ordinary policemen. He glanced to the side again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are actually 5 police cars parked in a small corner. What's going on? Are the police cars having a meeting? The police stepped forward and saluted Heoje. "Please show me your ID card." Heoje took out his ID card from his briefcase and handed it over. "Your name is Liu Dapun?" The police looked at the photo on the ID card and asked in confusion. Brother Heo nodded and bowed. Yes, my name is Liu Dapun. You can see that I'm a little fat guy in the photo, no mistake. Madam, please show me your ID card." Xiaomei glanced at Liu Dapun reluctantly. "Brother Heo, see. The police comrade wants to check your ID. Hurry up and cooperate immediately." Liu Dapun glared at her fiercely, a woman with long hair and short knowledge. "Wang Ernie? Yes, it's me." The girl's face turned red as a monkey's, but under the onlookers of many people. After checking the identity and confirming that there was no safety hazard, the police's face also eased a lot. "It's like this, Comrade Liu Pang. An international conference is being held in the Starlight Hotel, and there are no extra rooms to accommodate you." The police pointed to the big screen next to him. Liu Pang read out, "Yanjing wishes the International Congress of Mathematicians a successful convening. Please understand the inconvenience caused to you. Understand. Understand. We'll leave now. We'll leave now." As he said that, Liu Pang quickly got into the Ferrari and started the engine. "Brother Heo, wait for me." The appearance of the police today completely extinguished the fire in his heart. He lowered the car window and said, "I have something to do today. Let's meet again another day." The Ferrari sped away, leaving behind a girl with a messy face. At this time, on the 16th floor of the Starlight Hotel, Liam stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling mirror with a helpless look on his face. Through the mirror, He watched Zia King use her slender hands to fiddle with herself, adjusting her bow tie and stretching the slightly wrinkled corners of her clothes. Is it necessary to dress so formally for a dinner party? After changing dozens of sets of clothes in a row, he was already a little impatient. Zia King replied in a gentle tone, "Of course it is necessary." According to the comrades of the Yanjing Preparatory Committee, dozens of mathematicians came from Europe to celebrate the birth of pure mathematics. The national television station will broadcast the dinner live. As the head of Mosey Technology, you naturally have to pay attention to your own image. Have you not noticed that high-tech companies now dismiss their original spokespersons and use their own company's CEOs as spokespersons? For example, Lei Lei, who is also the spokesperson for the coarse-grain mobile phone company, is deeply loved by his own fans. Which star can better represent Mosey Technology than you, a Nobel Prize winner and Fields Medal winner? Liemo found that, since Zia King served as the general manager for a period of time, her language skills have increased rapidly. She can analyze anything for you. Okay, just trouble you to be faster. He felt his legs were a little numb. Would the Pajero people also experience leg numbness at this time? At 12 o'clock in the middle of the night, Liemo, who had just finished the banquet, sat in the backseat of the stretched car and rubbed his temples tiredly. He used to think that the Fields Medal was only an award to reward mathematicians who made contributions to mathematics. Now he understands that the Fields Medal, which is closely linked to the International Congress of Mathematicians, is more than just an award. Its greatest role is to bring together those intelligent brains with mathematical literacy to exchange their respective research findings in mathematics and stimulate the collision of sparks of inspiration. In the public's impression, mathematicians only need a pen and a piece of paper to fully meet the needs of research work. The reality in the mathematical community is that with the gradual increase in the number of mathematical branches and the deepening of research, the difficulty of mathematics has increased exponentially. It is difficult for a mathematician to have a glimpse of the full picture of mathematics. At this time, international mathematical exchange activities are particularly important. Dozens of mathematics professors who came from abroad expressed their interest in pure mathematics at the banquet. They proposed that for the development of pure mathematics, an academic alliance could be established worldwide, so that mathematicians within the academic alliance could freely exchange their experiences in studying pure mathematics. They even gave the alliance an uncreative name, the International Union of Pure Mathematics. As the founder of Pure Mathematics, Liemo was naturally elected as the chairman of the first International Union of Pure Mathematics. In order to promote the rapid development of pure mathematics, a new branch of mathematics, the International Union of Pure Mathematics stipulates that mathematicians who join the alliance are obliged to complete the research projects issued by the alliance. Of course, this obligation is not free. Although these mathematics giants are not billionaires, their rich mathematical knowledge has benefited them a lot in their daily investments. At the dinner, these mathematics fanatics took the initiative to donate part of their wealth as funds for the International Union of Pure Mathematics. Professor Awades Donaldson from Spain took out a stack of Santander bank checks from a patched and worn-out suitcase, wrote the number of 2 million euros on it, and then handed it to Zia King, who had been promoted to the secretary of the alliance, without hesitation. Under his leadership, the fanatics waved their checkbooks. The whole dinner turned into a fundraising banquet for the International Union of Pure Mathematics. Liemo watched this scene quietly from the side and couldn't help but marvel at the good financial management of these mathematicians. They can always see the essence of things through the fog and then make the right judgment with a calm mind. No wonder big casinos abroad refuse to allow mathematicians to enter. Are mathematicians pretending to be poor? Zia King squeezed out of the crowd with a bulging backpack, with a happy face. Boss, here is a total of 100 million. I didn't expect these mathematics professors in ordinary clothes to be so rich. Seeing her money-grubbing look, Liemo smiled slightly. Most mathematicians are still very poor. Can those who can appear here be ordinary mathematicians? He roughly calculated that there were 6 mathematicians among the top 10 in the world, and 82 mathematicians among the top 100. If a meteorite suddenly appeared in the space at this time and fell directly towards the location of the Starlight Building, I'm afraid that human mathematics will have to regress 50 years. Please forgive the author for not being good at describing banquet scenes. Chapter 342 Element that do not exist on Earth. Boss, are you tired? Zaya King, who was standing by, saw him rubbing his temples. Liemo cheered up, looked at the brightly lit streets outside the car window, and shook his head. Not tired. Ordinary humans are still struggling for life, and as he is already closely connected with alien civilizations, how can he be lax at all? Back in the laboratory, Liemo went straight to the secret experimental base on the 3rd floor underground. Master, welcome back. Liemo pulled a chair over, sat in front of the computer and asked, is the analysis of the engine completed? The low-speed ion energy engine is the best power choice for his dream spacecraft. The first step of the copycat is to analyze the internal structure and generate a complete technical drawing. The engine has been analyzed. According to the data obtained by the analyzer, this engine consists of 128,632 parts. Fortunately, the artificial intelligence Zaya did not disappoint him. A large-scale drawing appeared on the computer screen. Liemo picked up the mouse and chose to zoom in. An extremely complex mechanical drawing appeared in front of him. The drawing size is 21,000 x 36,000. This is as big as a room. Zaya, isn't the size of the generated drawing wrong? Liemo frowned. The standard size of a conventional CAD mechanical drawing should be 594 x 891. Zaya's voice came from the speaker. Master, is this engine a conventional Earth engine? Good guy. The artificial intelligence learned to ask back, and Liemo was speechless to Zaya's question. Zaya, who succeeded in asking back, did not press the victory, but chose to explain, because there are a large number of high-precision parts with a diameter of only a few microns in the engine. In order to fully describe these parts, I deliberately enlarged the scale of the drawing. So that's the case. Liemo patted his head and suddenly realized. Then what about the materials of these parts? He continued to ask. Zaya replied, according to analysis, most of the materials used in this engine can be found on Earth. However, the shell of the engine and the core nano-quantum generator are made of a unique alloy, which is made of metal element that have never been found on Earth. Metal element that have never been found? Liemo asked doubtfully. According to the periodic table, humans have discovered all the metal element that can exist on Earth. Is this unknown element a mistake in your detection? The periodic table of chemical element is a list of chemical elements sorted from small to large according to the nuclear charge number. At present, humans have discovered a total of 118 element, including element in the 4 zones of S, P, D, and F. As the nuclear charge number of the element increases, the electron cloud spacing is large, and it is not easy to form a stable bond. The 118th element, SN, has the highest atomic number and atomic weight of all discovered element, and is the heaviest element synthesized by humans. It only existed for 1 millisecond in the cyclotron in the laboratory. Although theoretically there are elements with larger mass such as 119 after the 118th element, these unstable elements have no meaning of existence. Zaya's question came from the speaker again. Master, are you sure that the human periodic table is correct? Liemo. He then remembered that the periodic table was a table summarized by the Russian chemist Mendeleev, based on the existing element. Although it can accurately predict the characteristics of various elements and the relationship between them, from a scientific and rigorous point of view, the periodic table is only a representative of empirical science, not the true law of the universe. Therefore, the existence of an element in the universe that is not in the periodic table is also a very probable event. Liemo sighed inwardly. As a senior scientist, he actually made the mistake of empiricism, which is really wrong. After thinking for a moment, he asked, if there is no such alloy, can we make such an engine? Zaya answered without hesitation. According to analysis, the shell of the engine only plays a role of shielding the high energy rays of the universe, and it does not affect the function of the engine. But the core nano-quantum generator is the core component of the entire engine. It is responsible for converting electrical energy into quantum light particles, and cannot be replaced by existing Earth materials. The shell is useless. Liemo muttered to himself, if the shell. He was moved and asked, what is the ratio of the special alloy in the shell and the nano-quantum generator? About 4:1. The ratio of the special alloy used in the engine shell is 4 times that of the nano-quantum generator. Xiaohe gave the exact value. He was overjoyed, and a wonderful plan was born in his mind. Xiaohe, save all the drawings of the engine and the U-disc, and then enter the standby mode. Liemo took the U-disc back to the office, and called Xiaoking, notify 91247 and Fang Lanshan to come to my office and let them bring the design results of this period of time. The prototype of the spacecraft's engine has taken shape, and the next step is the design of the spacecraft. Liemo closed his eyes, and tried to put together a perfect spaceship in his mind. It has knock knock. The knock on the door interrupted his thoughts. He stood up and pulled down the curtains. Although 91247 has undergone a series of advanced medical treatments, after joining the Mosey Technology Laboratory, the sunlight will no longer have any effect on his physiology, but the psychological impact is difficult to change in a short period of time. Come in. Boss, are you looking for me? Little kid, I haven't seen you for a few days. I heard that you have created a branch of pure mathematics. Fang Lanshan and 91247 came together and sat at the two ends of the sofa. Their eyes deliberately ignored each other, revealing a subtle atmosphere. It seems that there seems to be some estrangement between the two. Liemo's eyes trembled slightly. He had expected this scene when he asked Fang Lanshan and 91247 to jointly design the spacecraft. One is a foreign coffee who graduated from a prestigious university and has worked in the NCAA for more than 10 years, and the other is a local garlic who has been self-taught and has been in the dark since childhood. It is strange that the two can get along well. However, Liemo did not expect that there would be such a deep gap between them. In this case, how could the design work of the spacecraft be handed over to them? Fang Lanshan, you report first. Liemo pointed to Yang Coffee, who was holding his hands in front of his chest. Fang Lanshan stood up and took out a thick stack of information from the briefcase. These are the errors I found in the spacecraft design drawings of Designer 9. Liemo flipped through the information. It seemed that Fang Lanshan had put a lot of effort into it. There were too many irregularities in the spacecraft design drawings of 91247. Fang Lanshan glanced at 91247, who had a livid face next to him. According to statistics, there are a total of 3 major design flaws, 12 flaws that affect the performance of the spacecraft, and 156 unclear markings in the drawings of Designer 9. Chapter 343 The Real Spaceship Design. 91247's face trembled, and he stood up from the sofa and shouted excitedly, is the logo unclear? UNCAA bug. Do you know the drawing standards of our China? Don't think that you don't know your last name, just because you have been drinking foreign ink for a few days. Fang Lanshan seemed to have never experienced such a quarrel. He blushed and stammered at 91247. You are unreasonable. Liemo couldn't help but frowned. The situation seemed more serious than he thought. Although everyone would inevitably get angry when others picked out the faults of their hard-earned work, it was a bit too much for 91247 to turn this anger into a personal attack on Fang Lanshan. Don't think I don't know what you fake foreign devils are up to. Seeing that Fang Lanshan in front of him had no power to fight back, 91247 became even more excited. Bang! Liemo slammed the information in his hand on the desk. Sun Xingyan, shut up. 91247 was stunned when his real name was called. Liemo walked forward and looked him straight in the eye. Let me ask you, is Fang Lanshan a Chinese? 91247 seemed intimidated by his look and answered in a low voice. Yes, then let me ask you again, is Fang Lanshan an employee of Mosey Technology? Yes, let me also ask you, is Fang Lanshan your colleague? 91247 lowered his head under Liemo's gaze. Yes, let me ask you one last time, does the mistake that Fang Lanshan pointed out exist? Yes. 91247 lowered his head, like a child being criticized by a teacher. Liemo hardened his heart and said, you apologize to Fang Lanshan now. I what? Didn't you make any mistakes? 91,247 lowered his head, walked to Fang Lanshan, and whispered, "Designer Fang, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have called you a fake foreigner, nor a stink bug. Let's make peace." Fang Lanshan was stunned by 91,247's childishness. After a while of trance, he seemed to understand something from Liamo's eyes, and smiled and stretched out his hand. "Designer 9, in fact, your spacecraft design plan is still unique. I found that you are very good at making full use of the energy of the spacecraft." 91,247 raised his head, and his eyes burst into joy. "Really? You know, I'm a senior rocket engine designer myself. Designing engines is my specialty. It was this kid Liamo who made me." As he said, he almost came in front of Fang Lanshan, spitting everywhere. Fang Lanshan seemed a little at a loss in the face of 91,247's sudden enthusiasm. He looked at Liamo with a look of help. "Ahem. I called you here this time because I have something important to discuss." Liamo felt that the relationship between the two had eased a lot. If it continued like this, Fang Lanshan would doubt 91,247's sexual orientation. "Big thing. Is it related to the spacecraft?" Sure enough, Liamo's words attracted the attention of the two. "Yes, I personally designed a spacecraft plan. You can discuss it," Liamo said, pulling the blackboard next to him and drawing a big circle inside a small circle on it. 91,247 looked at the blackboard, puzzled. "Boss, where is your spacecraft design plan?" Fang Lanshan also scratched his head and asked, "This big circle inside the small circle, isn't it the Earth and the crust?" Obviously, he had heard other colleagues talk about the scene that happened at the expanded meeting of Mosey Technology. Liamo shook his head helplessly, pointed to the big circle inside the small circle, and said solemnly, "This is my spaceship design." "This design?" the two exclaimed in disbelief. Fang Lanshan stood up from the sofa and said seriously, "Although you are my boss, you have saved the lives of our whole family and allowed me to engage in my beloved spaceship design work again. You have done me an incomparable favor. But I still have to say that there are only two circles drawn on the blackboard, not a spaceship design plan." 91,247 next to him also nodded repeatedly like a chicken pecking at food, expressing his agreement. "Where did you think of it?" Liamo shook his head helplessly again, leading two scientists without imagination, without a trace of fun. He picked up the chalk, added 3 beams of light under the circle, and then drew a little man with a big head below. 91,247 exclaimed, "Flying saucer. Boy, your spaceship design is a flying saucer?" Liamo nodded slightly, and said with a smile, "It is a flying saucer." Flying saucers are an elliptical disc aircraft that often appear in science fiction movies. Compared with the bird-like shape of human aircraft, the front of the flying saucer presents a standard circle. This is a design plan that does not consider aerodynamics. Liamo also had doubts about this issue, but when he got the low light speed unenergy engine for the first time, he understood that the flying saucer is the optimal choice for a small spacecraft. The low light speed unenergy engine uses the reaction force generated by the ejected quantum state high energy light particles to drive the spacecraft forward. The unique properties of quantum state light particles require that they must be in groups of 3 to form a complete power cycle. The circular hull design can just meet this power cycle requirement. What's more important is that the circle has countless axes of symmetry and is the largest area figure that can be constructed with the least material consumption. When sailing in the endless universe, any space is particularly important. As for atmospheric dynamics, does the atmosphere exist in space? 91,247 pondered for a moment and said slowly, "I have also studied the design of flying saucers. Compared with traditional bionic aircraft, flying saucers have their own unique advantages. However, its biggest problem is power. The power solutions currently used on Earth may not be able to meet its power needs. Even the new liquid rocket engine RD-171 MV-TSR engine with a maximum thrust of 800 tons. Liamo smiled slightly. 800 tons of thrust is not enough. What about 8,000 tons or even 80,000 tons? As he said, he walked to the wall and gently pulled it. A giant design drawing slowly fell from the roof. Is this the engine design? Fang Lanshan, who had sharp eyes, instantly saw the unique engine parameter mark on the drawing. It's too complicated. How many parts are there in it? Liemo replied, there are a total of 128,632 parts on the blueprint, and the smallest part has a nanometer level precision. Nanolevel? 91,247, who has been dealing with engines all his life, widened his eyes. Don't you understand that under the high temperature and pressure inside the engine, it is difficult for nanometer level parts to maintain their stability? Facing his doubts, Liemo pointed to the core nano quantum generator in the blueprint and said slowly, did I say that this engine will generate high temperatures? Chapter 344, Visiting the Troops. That's right, this is the biggest advantage of the low-speed ion energy engine. The quantum light particles it ejects do not generate any heat. High temperature has always been an insurmountable drawback of aviation-grade engines. Affected by the tens of thousands of degrees high temperature in the combustion chamber, high-performance aviation engines made of special high-temperature resistant materials only have a service life of a few hundred hours. 91,247 looked serious, his eyes fixed on the engine design hanging on the wall. Half an hour later, a sigh came from his mouth. I understand. Is this the new energy spacecraft engine? Liemo nodded. This is Mosey Technologies' latest aerospace-grade engine, the low-speed of light ion energy engine, which can convert electrical energy into quantum light particles. Then he picked up the chalk and tapped 3 points on the circle on the blackboard. The spacecraft will adopt the design concept of a spiral disk. The main body of the spacecraft is in a static state, and 3 low-speed of light ion energy engines are installed on the spiral disk at the bottom. Fang Lanshan, great. This will overcome the high temperature generated by atmospheric friction in one fell swoop. Liemo threw away the chalk in his hand. Although we have the design drawings of the engine, there is still a long way to go before the entity can be manufactured. So, 91,247, I appoint you as the manufacturing engineer of the low speed of light ion energy engine, and you must manufacture the engine in the shortest time possible. 91,247 nodded excitedly, guarantee to complete the task. Although its structure is complicated, I, Old 9, am not a pushover. Fang Lanshan, I appoint you as the overall designer of the spacecraft, responsible for the design of the spacecraft. Are you confident that you can complete it? Liemo knew that the spacecraft design he drew on the blackboard was still a long way from the real spacecraft design. Fang Lanshan tried to suppress his excitement. Make sure to complete the task. Okay. We'll leave the spacecraft project of Mosey Technology to you two. After finishing the meeting, Liemo stood quietly in front of the floor-to-ceiling glass window in the office, from which he could overlook the entire laboratory park. It was almost noon now, and the scientists who had finished their morning work were walking in groups of 3 or 5 to the cafeteria area in the southeast corner. The one walking in front was a short old man, and he was followed by a fat big yellow dog. This was Wugashi. Liemo recognized this most failed investment of Mosey Technology at a glance. His blood pressure soared. He turned his eyes to the northwest corner of the park, where more than a dozen cranes were building a workshop more than 10 meters high. Several yellow hats were directing the cranes. Not far away, an oversized parasol was inserted into the ground, and there seemed to be a person lying under the parasol. Liemo's heart moved. He dialed the phone. Zirking, ask the chefs in the canteen to prepare some meals for the installation workers on the construction site. He was going to entertain the troops. Under the scorching sun, 5 100-ton cranes from China Construction 88th Bureau were working together to lift a roof. The person commanding these cranes was engineer Niu Zanming, who was holding a walkie-talkie and staring at the roof in the air. The voice of the crane master number 2 came from the walkie-talkie. Niu Gong, when is the meal time? I'm starving. Niu Zanming frowned and answered with the walkie-talkie. Car number 3, move 2 centimeters in the direction of 35 degrees. Dachu, you are the only one who is hungry. This is a key project of the department and needs to be completed as soon as possible. You hold on a little longer. This Dachu is an excellent crane master with a keen eye and precise operation. He is also one of the rare first-class masters in China Construction 88th Bureau. But he has a problem that is not a problem in other places. That is, he gets hungry easily. A colleague joked that every time Dachu cried out that he was hungry, he knew it was almost 12 o'clock without looking at the time. But crane work has certain special features. You can't just hang the lifting object in the air and then stop the machine to eat, right? No. 5. Swing the boom to the right 10 degrees. No. 4. Follow. Perfect. Okay, everyone, follow number 2 to start lowering the boom. The most difficult step of positioning has been completed. NIU Zion Ming breathed a sigh of relief and wiped the sweat from his forehead. At this time, he suddenly found a young man who looked like a scholar standing behind him, looking up at the crane. The man looked familiar, but he couldn't remember who he was. Whoever he was, the construction site was strictly prohibited for unrelated personnel to enter. NIU Zion Ming frowned. Construction site. Unrelated personnel are not allowed to enter. Please go out. The young man smiled and pointed to the white hat on his head. Hey, Party A or the supervisor? NIU Zion Ming frowned instinctively. Party A, I'm from Mosey Technology Laboratory. The young man replied with a smile. NIU Zion Ming shook his head. Party A is not allowed either. Please stand outside the cordon. These young people who love to be lively always think that the crane is a big toy. What they don't know is that even if it is a brand new crane, the boom has a very low probability of breaking. I'm sorry, I neglected it. The young man walked outside the cordon. NIU Zion Ming turned around and concentrated on directing the crane. After more than 10 minutes of tacit cooperation, the more than 100 square meter roof finally fit perfectly with the wall. Call it off and have dinner. NIU Zion Ming took off his hat and walked to the periphery of the construction site. Hey, you haven't left yet? He found that the young man in the white hat was still standing outside the cordon. The young man pointed to the roof that had been erected. How long will it take to erect this workshop? The main structure has been hoisted. The next step is to carry out the internal construction. Our China Construction 88th Bureau will adopt a 3-shift multi-type construction method. It will probably take another 2 days for the workshop to be completed. NIU Zion Ming replied. I remember that Mosey Technology seems to have arranged a supervisor at the construction site. Why can't I see him? The young man asked again. NIU Zion Ming grinned and laughed. There he is, lying under the parasol in the south. Lying under a parasol? The young man looked around and saw a parasol stuck on the ground more than 10 meters away. Here. He was about to walk over. NIU Zion Ming suddenly thought of something and quickly stopped him. Let him sleep more. It is said that he stays up all night every night to study the instrument operation manual and comes to the construction site to supervise during the day. I would like to see how black-hearted the boss of this laboratory is to do such a thing. The young man's face looked grim and he said embarrassedly, but it's a problem of supervision of construction site quality. NIU Zion Ming shook his head. You Mosey Technology Laboratory can rest assured about this. Our China Construction 88th Bureau has specially transferred hundreds of business elites from all over the country for this small construction site to ensure the quality. Besides, if we send a green hand to supervise, if we old workers who have been working in the construction industry for half a lifetime really want to do something, do you think he can tell? The young man nodded continuously. Different trades are like different worlds. NIU Zion Ming continued. I'm not bragging. This simple workshop we built is strong enough to withstand an 8 magnitude earthquake and a 10 magnitude gale. Back then, we were in the Nansha Islands. Boss, why are you here? The supervisor under the parasol woke up, rushed over, and shouted in surprise. Liemo pretended to be angry. Come and see your work, Liu Mingru. Liu Mingru rubbed the bags under his eyes. Liemo patted his shoulder. It's okay, I know everything. Thank you for your hard work. At this time, NIU Zion Ming, who was standing aside, finally woke up. Boss, you are Professor Liemo. Liemo stretched out his hand with a smile. I'm Liemo. You have worked hard. NIU Zion Ming's hands trembled slightly. Not hard, not hard. King, bring the food up. Today we at Mosey Technology will reward the workers from China Construction 88th Bureau. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 345 Observation Group. Inside the warehouse of Mosey Technology, more than a dozen couriers from western Beijing are loading mountains of parcels into a large van. Xiaoqing, wearing a figure-hugging one-line skirt, walked over and said to the busy courier boy with a smile, "Thank you for your hard work, have a drink of water." Then she turned around and said to the young man carrying a box of orange juice, "Xiao Wang, distribute the drinks to the brothers in Jinxi." A courier who looked like a team leader wiped the sweat from his forehead, took the drink, and said with a smile, "It's not hard. Professor Liemo is our key customer in Jinxi. It is a duty as Jinxi Express to ensure that the packages sent by the professor arrive quickly and safely." He looked at the two couriers who were packing and said, "However, it is rare to mail more than 3,000 cross-border express parcels at one time, and the recipients' addresses are all across Asia, Europe, and Africa. To be honest, this is the largest number of personal parcels carried by our Jinxi Express this year." The package category shows books. Could it be Professor Liemo's new book? Xiaoqing looked at the parcels with a smile in her eyes. It's his new book, Principles of Pure Mathematics, and the recipients of the couriers are all university mathematics professors. Principles of Pure Mathematics? The courier captain scratched his head. Mathematics is mathematics. Can it be purified? Xiaoqing laughed out loud. She covered her mouth and said, "You have to ask Professor Liemo about this. Maybe in his world, everything has impurities." Impurities? The courier captain frowned, then shook his head. "We don't understand the world of big people, so we should pack these packages quickly, and don't waste time." HU. At this time in the office, Liemo was looking at the laboratory's monthly financial report and suddenly yawned. "Who is talking about me again? Expenditure 12 billion, income 10 billion. Considering that the laboratory purchased a lot of equipment this month, this data is already ideal." Liemo picked up a pen and prepared to sign his name on the report. Beep. The phone rang. The caller ID was Xiaohe. Artificial intelligence Xiaohe has learned to make calls. With such doubts, Liemo answered the phone. Sure enough, Xiaohe's pleasant voice came from the phone. "Report to the master. An incident that may lead to confidentiality leakage may occur in the park." Leak? Liemo's heart skipped a beat. What's going on? In the southwest region, an observation group with Class B access is trying to enter the confidentiality level A experimental area. Xiaohe described in detail what she had observed on the phone. Closely observe. Liemo hung up the phone, looking puzzled. Observation group. He didn't remember any observation group in the Mosey Technology Laboratory. What's going on? He thought for a while and called his assistant Xiaoqing. Xiaoqing was his incarnation in the laboratory, and maybe she knew the information about this inexplicable observation group. But the information he got from Xiaoqing surprised him. Even Xiaoqing didn't know that there was such an observation group in the laboratory. According to the laboratory's security rules, only he and Xiaoqing had the authority to issue Class B passes. So where did the pass in the hands of this observation group come from? The situation is serious. This time, Liemo directly called the laboratory security supervisor, Xiao Gui, and said, "Come to my office immediately, right now." 5 minutes later, a thin man with a dark face appeared in the office. He was Heije's old brother, Xiao Gui. "Boss, why are you looking for me so urgently? What's the matter?" Liemo asked directly. "It is said that an observation group supporting Class B passes appeared in the park today. Is that true?" Observation group. Xiao Gui frowned and tried to recall. Today, there were indeed 5 scientists from the Huazhang University of Science and Technology who entered the laboratory under the leadership of Dr. Xian Kikan. The Class B passes they used were Dr. Xian's. Drive Xian Kikan from the Atmospheric Dynamics Experiment Department. Liemo understood instantly that this Dr. Xian was a support staff member from the Huazhang University of Science and Technology. Xiao Gui nodded. It was indeed Dr. Xian, and he was accompanied by an engineering academician from the Huazhang University of Science and Technology. Xiao Gui said, lowering his head. "So you forgot the security principle of one certificate for one person, and certification does not recognize people." Liemo had completely understood. TSK. It seems that the spacecraft project of Mosey Technology Laboratory is very attractive, and it actually attracted the attention of 2 engineering academicians. The little ghost lowered his head and said, "I made a mistake this time. Please punish me." Liemo said with a fierce face, "Let's talk about the punishment later. You must disable Dr. Zikakin's pass immediately. But there are 2 academicians in that team. Do you need to come forward to explain?" The little ghost looked embarrassed. Seeing his attitude, Liemo snorted coldly, "This laboratory is called Mosey Technology Laboratory. The boss is Liemo. I don't need to explain to anyone in the laboratory, let alone a sneaky guest. Execute immediately." The little ghost stood at attention with his feet together. "Yes." Looking at the back of the little ghost who hurriedly left, Liemo knew that the responsibility for this incident could not be entirely attributed to him. After all, the identity of the academician was too special. Academician is the highest academic title in science and technology in China. Every scientist who can obtain the title of academician is a leader in their respective fields. China has a population of more than 1 billion, but only has more than 1,700 academicians. This shows how rare the title of academician is. If academician is just an honorary title, it would be fine. The key is that there is a huge academic force behind each academician. Their students and old friends are all over universities and research institutions in China. These intricate relationships are interwoven into a big network. To academicians, you think highly of me. Although Liemo is unwilling to offend the predecessors in the scientific community, it does not mean that he will be manipulated by others, not to mention that the visitors are preparing to peek at his hard work. "Zaha, transfer the observation group's video to my mobile phone," Liemo said to the camera on the ceiling, and the red light of the camera flashed rhythmically a few times. A real-time monitoring screen appeared on the mobile phone screen. In the elevator, 6 people in suits and leather shoes were knocking on the elevator door. One of the young men took out a mobile phone and prepared to call for help. As a result, he found that the mobile signal in the elevator was completely blocked. He was so angry that he threw the phone to the ground. This is too coincidental. Liemo had to admire the timing of the little ghost to disable the pass. Mosey Technology implements a strict grading system for internal security. The specific operational measure is to distribute different levels of passes to employees with different confidentiality levels. Employees must carry their passes with them and are prohibited from entering areas with higher pass levels than their own. The access control, elevators, and even communication equipment in the laboratory are always checking the user's pass level. Once it is found that the user's confidentiality level does not meet the requirements, it will be stopped immediately and reported to the security personnel. This observation group holding a B-level pass was riding in the elevator, but they did not expect that the pass was disabled by the little ghost. The elevator naturally thought that the observation group's confidentiality level did not meet the requirements and immediately stopped running, trapping these people in the elevator. Chapter 346, Elderly Security Guard. Liemo sat at his desk, quietly watching the surveillance footage on his phone. After a fruitless effort, the 6 people trapped in the elevator seemed to have given up struggling. The 2 older people even squatted down. Liemo zoomed in on the screen. It turned out to be Academician Zhao Zifeng and Academician Wang Benben. He stood up and called Zhao Gui. "Take a few team members and help me rescue the people from the elevator." The 2 older academicians didn't seem to be able to hold on for too long. I couldn't just watch them get into trouble on the territory of Mosey Technology. There was a bang bang sound in the elevator, and Liemo shouted through the gap, "Hold on for a while, the security will come back to rescue you immediately." Perhaps it was because of his voice that the knocking sound disappeared. At this time, Zhao Gui came in from outside with 2 gray-haired security guards. The 2 security guards were over 70 years old, with hunched bodies and trembling walks. Not to mention, being responsible for security affairs, they were afraid that they would fall asleep at any time, even if they were sitting there. When did Mosey Technology hire this kind of retirement-type security guard? Liemo cast a puzzled look at the little ghost. Seeing his puzzlement, the little ghost showed a sly smile on his face, and the corner of his mouth tilted towards the elevator door. Liemo understood instantly. What a good idea. This little ghost deserves to be called the team member with the most ghost ideas by Brother Hey, and he can also think of this method. Is there anyone inside? The little ghost stood at the elevator door and shouted loudly. Yes, save us out quickly. How many people? 6. Save us out quickly, security brother. The people in the elevator were about to cry anxiously. Liemo signaled to stop playing with the goods, and the little ghost took out a remote control from his waist. People inside, don't lean against the elevator door. As he said, he pressed the remote control, and the elevator door opened instantly. Finally out. I thought I was going to die here. The 4 young people ran out rolling and crawling. Wait for us. The 2 old men behind them seemed to be unable to walk. Liemo ignored the escaping young people, although he saw clearly that Zion Kikan was running in the front, and stepped into the elevator car. Academician Zhao, Academician Wang, why you? He helped up the 2 academicians who had collapsed on the ground, turned around and shouted, little ghost, come and help. At the little ghost's signal, the 2 retirement security guards also came up and helped them up. At this time, the 2 academicians who breathed in fresh air seemed to be a little more awake. Looking at Liemo with a confused face, he asked, it's Professor Lee, why are you here? Liemo laughed in his heart, why am I here? If I came a little later, I'm afraid I would have to give you to this thought in my heart, but I couldn't say it. He tried to adjust his mood and said with a righteous face, I heard from the director in charge of security that someone was trapped in the laboratory elevator. As the head of Mosey Technology, it is naturally my responsibility to rescue the person. Oh, you are really a responsible head, but aren't you a little late? Academician Zhao, who was the first to wake up, complained. Academician Wang on the side struggled to stand up. Hey, Leo Zhao, shall we go out first? Yes, let's go out first. This sentence reminded Academician Zhao, and he gave up complaining and walked out tremblingly. I'll help you. Liemo lifted him up from behind. After getting out of the elevator, they found a row of benches to sit down, and Academician Zhao breathed a sigh of relief. Thank God, it finally came out. I say, Professor Lee, your Mosey Technologies equipment is too old. Can this faulty elevator still be used? Liemo replied with a smile, there is no way. Mosey Technology is a private laboratory with limited funds, and we have to live frugally. But we can't be careless with the elevator. I will call the security guards in charge of elevator monitoring and ask them to apologize to the 2 academicians in person. After speaking, he raised his head. Zio GUI, call the security guards on duty today. Zio GUI pointed to the 2 retirement type security guards in their 60s beside him. Boss, these are the 2, Security Zhao and Security Wang. Oh, why don't you apologize to the 2 academicians? Liemo gave a look. The 2 retirement security guards stepped forward tremblingly. Leader Zhao and Leader Wang, Old Zhao and Old Wang, apologize to you. Seeing the 2 old men who were older than them, Academician Zhao could no longer act like an elder, and hurriedly said, it doesn't matter, these are all trivial matters. However, in the future, when you are on duty, you must be serious and responsible. Fortunately, Academician Wang and I are in good health today, otherwise. Seeing that the 2 academicians had a way out, the little ghost hurriedly said from the side, the leaders have forgiven you, please go back to duty. This time the 2 leaders are in a good mood and have high character, so we won't bother with you. Remember to be serious and responsible in the future. The 2 retirement security guards said unclearly with their leaky mouths. Thank you, leaders, you are good people, and then turned and walked outside. Looking at their 2 step-a-step walking posture, Academician Zhao asked again, your Mosey Technology is a confidential unit, why do you hire such old security guards? What if a thief comes? Will you save these security guards or chase them away? Liemo replied helplessly, our Mosey Technology is a private laboratory with limited funds, so the security personnel we hire are a little older. But you 2 leaders can rest assured, they are very responsible. Today, it was these 2 old men who found several people trapped in the elevator through the elevator surveillance. It would have been better if he didn't mention it. As soon as he mentioned being trapped in the elevator just now, Academician Zhao immediately frowned. So, I should thank them? No, this is their duty. Liemo waved his hand, with a weird smile on his face. But you two sneaked into our Mosey technology experiment. What's the matter? This doesn't seem to be Huazhang University of Science and Technology, right? Who said it was sneaky? We came to visit at the invitation of your Mosey technology. It was Dr. Zion Kicken who personally invited us. If you don't believe me, you can ask Zion Kicken. Academician Zhao raised his face, spoke righteously, and gritted his teeth. Humans are the best animals at camouflage. When primitive people who ate raw meat and drank blood hung the first leaf on their bodies to cover their private parts, humans began to camouflage. In addition to the function of keeping warm, the biggest function of clothing is camouflage. Through this camouflage, fat people can be disguised as thin people, and short people can be disguised as tall beauties. In addition to clothes, human facial expressions are experts in camouflage. Compared with other animals, humans look for prey when hungry, and look for streams when thirsty. They are much more complicated. They always hide their desires behind heavy masks and use vivid expressions to hide what they think in their hearts, in order to achieve the purpose of fearing that people will know. And Dr. Zhao's expression and tone perfectly illustrate this point. Chapter 347 $10. A highly respected academician, with a righteous face, eyes like arrows, and words of conviction. If Liemo had not seen with his own eyes how they passed the gate inspection through deception in the surveillance records, he really thought that he had really wronged them. Wonderful. This performance is completely worthy of an Oscar. He smiled slightly and asked Academician Zhao, who was full of righteousness, since the two academicians are here to visit our Mosey Technology Laboratory, why didn't you notify me, the head, to accompany you? Do you still think that I, a Fields Medal winner, am not qualified to go with you? Liemo's face changed. How is this behavior of sneaking into someone else's home different from the behavior of a thief? Our academician Zhao, who was careless just now, was at a loss for words at this time. We are just here to visit. As for why I didn't notify you, it's just because I was afraid of causing trouble to you, and that's, as he said, he also felt that the reasons he made up seemed untenable, and his voice became smaller and smaller. At this time, academician Wang Benben, who had been silent all the time, spoke up. Old Zhao, let's be frank, what else can he do to us? Academician Zhao nodded slightly. Our old Zhao heard from others that you are working on a spacecraft project here, so he came here specially to visit. Academician Wang glanced at Liemo with a trace of disdain on his face. I heard that you are a very close-knit person. I'm afraid that, if we inform you, we won't even be able to enter the door of Mosey Technology. Liemo clapped his hands, with a look of surprise on his face. You should have told me earlier. It is the supreme honor for our Mosey Technology Laboratory that the two academicians can visit together. Because my family is small and my business is small, I may be a little stingy at ordinary times, but there are two academicians coming today. As he said, he patted his chest. Just tell me where you want to visit, and I will personally be your guide. The wrinkles on academician Wang's face were stretched, and he said to academician Zhao with a smile on his face, I said, Professor Lee can't be so stingy that he even turns away academicians. It's just that you are very afraid. I heard that your good student named Zion had to do some incognito visit and almost lost our lives in the elevator. Liemo smiled slightly. Where do the two academicians want to visit? Spacecraft R&D Center. I heard that you used a special booster device on the spacecraft. Academician Wang stood up from the bench impatiently. We want to see it. Liemo's heart trembled when he heard this. The development of the spacecraft was a top secret project of the laboratory. Those external supporting scientists were only responsible for peripheral work and did not know the power design of the spacecraft. How did academician Wang know the specific situation of the spacecraft? However, he remained calm and took the initiative to say, please, both of you, it's just right to take this rare opportunity to teach the researchers of our Mosey Technology Laboratory. To be honest, we have encountered too many difficulties in the development of the spacecraft. Led by Liemo, the two academicians walked towards the spacecraft R&D center located in the Northwest Park. Along the way, academician Zhao looked at the white-robed researchers coming and going, and the modern experimental buildings standing on both sides of the road, and his face was gloomy. Finally, when he walked to the bank of Crescent Lake, He looked at a group of wild ducks frolicking in the lake and couldn't help himself. It seems that you still have face. At the beginning, I reported to the Ministry of Science and Technology several times, requesting to move the Mechanical Research Institute of Huazhang University of Science and Technology here, but the ministry rejected it on the grounds that there was no development plan in the local area. I didn't expect that less than 2 years later, you built this large-scale MOSI technology laboratory here. Is this complaining again? Liemo knew that there was such a kind of people in the world who always complained about anything that did not meet their expectations. Pour a cup of hot tea. The tea is too cold, and the stomach is uncomfortable after drinking it. The tea is too hot and burns the mouth. There is too much water. It is easy to overflow and burn your hands. There is too little water, and the host is too stingy and can't bear to give up a cup of tea. Finally, after drinking it, he disliked that Westlake Longjing did not have the long aftertaste of Wuai Mountain Dahang Pao. In short, the world is always full of various defects in their eyes, and what others do is always full of mistakes. And this academician Zhao is such a person. Well, there is only one way to deal with this kind of person, and that is pretend. The bigger the better, and it would be best if you pretend to be out of this world, leaving him speechless. Liemo said with a sad face. Alas, when the people of Dangan district proposed to sell the Shuxian plot to MOSI Technology, I originally disagreed. Do you know why? Seeing the puzzled look on academician Zhao's face, he spread his hands and said, because this place is too big. As you know, we are a private laboratory and there is no financial allocation to back us up. How many houses do we need to build to fill such a large plot of land? Academician Zhao nodded frequently. Yes, the transfer fee and construction fee of such a large piece of land will cost a lot of money. Liemo continued to perform. Dangan district also saw my concerns. In order to take care of MOSI Technology, they took the initiative to propose to reduce the price of the land. But how much can the price be reduced? This plot of land near Shuxian Park has long been a hot commodity in the eyes of developers due to its excellent environment and convenient transportation. Once it is developed into a real estate project, it will surely be the best in the country. It is said that a developer has offered a sky-high price of 40 million per acre. Even if it is slightly lower than this price, we definitely can't afford it. However, the offer from Dangan district is something I can't refuse. Academician Zhao's eyes widened. He knew that the land was expensive, but he didn't expect it to be this expensive. How much did Dangan sell it to you? He couldn't help asking. This is exactly the effect he wanted. Liemo stood by the lake, looking at the wild ducks playing in the lake, and stretched out a finger. 10 million. Dangan's price is low enough. Academician Zhao looked a little lonely. Liemo smiled, but didn't say anything, just shook his head. Academician Zhao asked in disbelief. Impossible. Is it 1 million? Liemo shook his head again. Oh my god, such a good piece of land for 100,000 per acre? Academician Zhao felt hopeless. Liemo turned around and shook his finger and said, it's not 100,000, it's 1 yuan. Dangan district sold these 500 acres of land to MOSI Technology for 1 yuan. Academician Zhao's face flushed, and he shouted at the top of his lungs, 1 yuan? Liemo nodded. Of course, I'm not a stingy person, and I will never let Dangan district suffer a loss. He paused, looked into Academician Zhao's eyes, and said slowly, so, I paid 10 times the price. 10 times? 10 times is only 10 yuan. Academician Zhao's body began to tremble. Medicine. He pointed to his coat pocket. Academician Wang, who was standing next to him, stepped forward a few steps and took out a small porcelain bottle from his coat pocket. How many pills? Academician Zhao grabbed the porcelain bottle, poured the pills in it into his mouth, and sat on the stone pier, panting loudly. For a long time. Or, if you are not feeling well today, don't visit, right? Liemo bent over with a smile on his face. Academician Wang, who was reading beside him, also said with a worried look on his face, that's right, Liao Zhao, let's go back and find a doctor from the institute to check you out. Academician Zhao patted his chest and said breathlessly, no, we have decided to visit the spacecraft research center today. Let's visit. Who's afraid of who? Chapter 348 Calculation. The spacecraft development center is not far ahead. Academician Wang, please hold on. Liemo pointed to a gate in the distance and said to Academician Wang, whose face was flushed. Academician Wang supported Academician Zhao with all his strength, followed closely, and moved forward with difficulty. Liemo also wanted Zhao Gui to help him, but unfortunately Academician Zhao, who was wary, refused to accept help from Mosey Technology no matter what, which made Academician Wang, who had grey hair, suffer. Fortunately, the goal is not far away. The entire spacecraft development center is separated from other areas of the laboratory by a wall more than 5 meters high. Professor Lee, your place is really impregnable. Academician Wang looked up at the high voltage power grid all over the wall, with an indescribable expression on his face. This is not a spacecraft development center at all. It can be used as a bunker with a few machine guns. Liemo smiled slightly. The kid has a small family and a small business, and he is afraid of attracting outsiders. Please forgive me. You are just too careful. Academician Wang showed a look of contempt. Why, now that we are here, you won't let anyone open the door and invite us in? Liemo looked at the exhausted academicians, a smile on his face. Right away. Please wait. Before he finished speaking, click, click, the heavy iron door was slowly opened from the inside. A man in black uniform ran out and saluted. Professor Lee, are you here for inspection? Liemo smiled and said, 2 old friends asked to visit the spacecraft development center. I'll take them to have a look. As he spoke, he took out a dark green card from his pocket and handed it over. The man in black uniform took out a pose-sized machine from his waist and inserted the dark green card into the card slot. Beep. Permission granted. You can enter. The machine made a crisp sound. The man in black uniform walked a few steps to Academician Zhao and Wang. Pa, a standard military salute. You two, please show us your authorization cards. Academician Wang showed a look of surprise on his face. Authorization card? What authorization card? Professor Lee is the owner of the laboratory, and we came here with him. Is this not okay? The man in black uniform repeated with a blank expression. Please show us your authorization cards immediately. At this time, Academician Zhao struggled to stand up and shouted at Liemo. Professor Lee, you are going too far. Leo Wang and I almost lost half our lives to visit this so-called spacecraft development center. In the end, you still use the authority card to fool us. Believe it or not, when we return to Hust, we will immediately report you to the Ministry of Science and Technology. Looking at the emotional Academician Zhao, Liemo showed a trace of apology on his face. You misunderstood me. Although the spacecraft development center belongs to Mosey Technology, the security work here is not our responsibility. Didn't you see that I also need to verify my identity to enter here? Academician Wang was furious at this time and did not believe his nonsense. Leo Zhao, don't say any more to this slick kid. Let's just break in. I don't believe it. What dare they do? As he said, he shouted to the man in black uniform who was blocking his way. The two of us are Academician Wang and Academician Zhao from Hust. We have no ill intentions in this trip. We just want to visit and study. After that, he pulled Academician Zhao and rushed towards the gate. Hualei. Hualei. They rushed forward for only 2 steps. When they were still 5 meters away from the gate, more than a dozen black uniformed soldiers holding guns rushed out from the research and development center. They stood still, aimed, and loaded the bullets. The dark barrels shone with the unique luster of metal under the sunlight. Academician Wang was stunned. Academician Zhao was stunned. A black uniformed soldier with a scar on the corner of his mouth raised his hand. Anyone who trespasses into a confidential area will be executed on the spot. Ready. The black uniformed soldiers put their fingers on the trigger, concentrating and holding their breath, waiting for the order from the team leader. Shield team, are you the shield team? The shield team with unlimited firing rights? Oh my god. Academician Zhao saw the clue from the black uniforms. His face turned pale, and he shouted at Liemo at the top of his lungs. Professor Lee, stop them quickly. The shield team never jokes. Quick. Can you watch 2 Chinese academicians die in the Mosey laboratory? Academician Zhao's words touched Liemo. No matter what the character of these 2 academicians was, or how ill-intentioned they were towards Mosey Technology, they were Chinese academicians who had made great contributions to the country. For this reason, he could not stand idly by. Liemo walked to Scarmouth and propped up Scarmouth's right hand, which was about to fall. Brother, these two academicians agreed to temporarily lend the HL to a large and medium-sized conventional conductor tokamak to the Spacecraft Development Center. This time they came here specifically to inspect our security system. Just now it was just an exercise to test your reaction speed. The conventional conductor tokamak of the Mechanical Research Institute of Huarc Academy is a closed ring container that can bind and accelerate the high temperature plasma in the container through the action of a strong magnetic field and heat it in the form of pulses to meet the requirements of thermonuclear fusion. Simply put, the conventional conductor tokamak is a star simulator, which is one of the means for the international physics community to achieve nuclear fusion. Although Liemo is not interested in nuclear fusion for the time being, the conventional conductor tokamak can generate an electron temperature of 55 million degrees Celsius and a high-speed pulse flow similar to the surface of a star when it is running. Both of these are the performances that the external materials of a spacecraft must achieve. So at the beginning of the spacecraft plan, Liemo had already made several reports requesting temporary borrowing, but they were all rejected by Huarc Academy. So now, the more he thought about it, the more excited he became. Thinking of this, he winked at the two academicians. You two, are you going to lend the conventional conductor tokamak of the Mechanical Research Institute to the MOSI Technology Laboratory? When academician Zhao heard Liemo mention the conventional conductor tokamak, his face immediately darkened. He was tricked. The conventional conductor tokamak is a treasure of the Mechanical Research Institute and its face. Even in the international arena, it is also famous. At the beginning, the Ministry of Science and Technology asked them several times to lend this treasure to the MOSI Technology Laboratory, but he refused on the grounds that the experiment was at a critical juncture. Are you kidding? The treasure of the town can be lent just like that? But now, looking at the black muzzles around him, academician Zhao, who has participated in several confidential experiments, knows the origin of these black uniforms, and also knows that these black uniforms are an independent military unit, not under the jurisdiction of any organization. The most crucial point is that they only exist to protect China's top equipment. Any personal thing that threatens, or may threaten the safety of the equipment, they have the authority to make random decisions. It seems that this time we have failed. Academicians outside and said, Professor Lee, our institute can lend you a conventional conductor tokamak for 1 month. Chapter 349 Conventional Conductor Tokamak. Hearing academician Zhao's stingy words, Liemo smiled slightly. I've already borrowed it. Do you still care about such a short time? How about this? 3 months. After 3 months, our MOSI Technology guarantees to return the tokamak to the Institute of Mechanical Engineering intact. Too much. Do you really think the Institute of Mechanical Engineering is a soft persimmon? Academician Zhao was furious and glared. You. Liemo pretended to be exhausted. My hands are numb. I can't hold on any longer. Academician Wang next to him was panicked. Old Zhao, just agree to him. If he really lets go, we brothers may have to explain it here. What are you afraid of? He is bluffing us. There are no bullets in these soldiers' guns. Academician Zhao's mouth trembled. Academician Wang looked at the black muzzles around him in horror. Old Zhao, are you sure? The atmosphere at the scene suddenly became solemn, and the air seemed to stop flowing. One quota. Liemo held up a finger. Our MOSI Technology Laboratory offers a place for further study to the Huazhang University of Science and Technology. But this scientist must pass the laboratory's assessment. As the reputation of the MOSI Technology Laboratory in the international academic community has risen, many well-known foreign laboratories have expressed their requests to send exchange personnel, but they were all rejected by Liemo without hesitation. This is not because he cherishes his own things, but because there are too many secrets hidden in the laboratory. However, the stalemate in front of him was beyond his expectations. He did not expect that this seemingly fragile academician would be so strong-willed. Then the only way to break the deadlock is to give enough chips so that the other party can step down. Haha. Academician Zhao suddenly laughed up to the sky. Good trick. I agree. Let's not talk about whether Mosey Technologies spacecraft can be successfully developed, but let's see how you show weakness today and then trick me and Leo Wang into it step by step. From now on, China's scientific research community will definitely be very exciting. Then, he broke away from academician Wang's support, staggered, and walked out slowly. Liemo felt a little sad when looking at the scene in front of him, but for the sake of the spacecraft project, he couldn't care so much, and shouted to academician Zhao's figure that, since the conventional conductor tokamak is China's top scientific research instrument, in order to ensure safety, I will let the SHIELD team notify the escort work later. Professor Lee, please rest assured that I, Zhao, will never break my promise. Academician Zhao stopped. It's best not to break your promise. With the SHIELD team as a witness, I don't think you dare to do it. There is another small thing. Liemo continued to add. Academician Zhao turned around. His face was livid, and he seemed to have aged a lot. You are the winner today. If you have anything to say, please tell me all at once. Please take your good students back with you. They have been wronged in Mosey Technology. Liemo waved his hand. Zhao Gui led the young people who escaped from the elevator and came over. The leader was the traitor Zion Kikan, who lowered his head and blushed. Perfect. I didn't expect that the last clown would be me. Academician Zhao's mouth trembled, and he turned around and never looked back. Liemo smiled and said to Zhao Gui, send these people back to Huazhang University of Science and Technology, and then bring back the conventional conductor tokamak for me. Then he turned around and said to the scar-mouthed black uniform, thank you for your cooperation. Only this time. Scar-mouth turned around and waved his hand. The black uniforms put away their guns. Liemo shouted to the black uniforms who were collecting the team, I'll have to trouble you guys for the escort mission later. You. Mosey Technology Laboratory, Spacecraft Development Center. A two-story high cylinder stands in the number 5 experimental area, and dozens of engineers are assembling and debugging. This is the conventional conductor tokamak borrowed from the Institute of Mechanical Engineering. The eldest of the three brothers with bags under their eyes, Liu Mingru, looked at the giant in front of him, and widened his eyes. Boss, you actually moved it here? Liemo understood what he meant. Although the conventional conductor tokamak is just a scientific instrument for studying nuclear fusion, it has the same characteristics as the collider, that is, complex structure and huge size. Facing the muzzle of the black uniform, the reason why academician Zhao agreed to lend it to the Mosey Technology Laboratory was not fear. The main reason was that this instrument was very large, so large that normal people would never have the idea of moving it. His original idea was that, even if the conventional conductor tokamak was lent to Mosey Technology could not move such a large equipment, and could only conduct experiments at the Institute of Mechanical Engineering, so their opportunity came. But Liemo is not a person who plays by the rules. It is said that when academician Zhao learned that more than 500 engineers from Mosey Technology entered the Mechanical Research Institute under the protection of black uniforms, and went straight to the conventional conductor tokamak, he immediately fainted in the office. In this way, the engineers of Mosey Technology took a week to complete the decomposition, and then took another 2 weeks to complete the installation, after transporting it back to the laboratory. Xiaoqing, who used to be the general manager, did not understand Liemo's behavior and thought it was a complete waste of resources. Even if high temperature testing of spacecraft materials is required, the materials can be sent to the Mechanical Research Institute and tested using the conventional conductor tokamak there. Do you need to raise a cow yourself in order to eat beef? This was Xiaoqing's original words. Liemo just smiled and did not refute. Mingru, tell me, why should I spend so much money to move this behemoth back to the laboratory? Liemo's heart moved, and he asked Liu Mingru, who was amazed. With the rapid development of Mosey Technology Laboratory, the scale has expanded dramatically. The three brothers, who were once just researchers, have been entrusted with important tasks by Liemo, and have become leaders of different departments. The eldest brother, Liu Mingru, is in charge of the Frontier Mechanical Design Department. His job is to design mechanical equipment that meets the experimental requirements according to the Frontier Experimental Plan. Liu Mingru pondered for a moment. One disassembly and one assembly. His eyes lit up. Our laboratory wants to build its own nuclear fusion research device? Papa. Liemo applauded. Correct. With the development of the times, conventional chemical energy has been difficult to meet human energy needs, and nuclear fusion has become the most realistic option. At present, the total energy consumption rate of mankind is about 1014 W. A mass energy conversion is equivalent to consuming a little more than 1 gram of matter per second, and then converted into fusion. Considering the issue of energy utilization, that is, tens of kilograms to tens of kilograms of deuterium and tritium. He pointed to the roof and said, the moon, which is very close to our Earth, contains more than 1 million tons of deuterium and tritium. In other words, if humans can crack the mystery of nuclear fusion, then there will be no energy worries for tens of thousands of years. Prepare for a rainy day. There are currently 2 directions for international research on nuclear fusion: conventional conductor tokamaks and stellarators. Conventional conductor tokamaks have the advantages of high plasma density and temperature, which means that it is easier to achieve higher triple products. The triple product reaching the Lawson criterion is the primary condition for achieving fusion, and its structure is simple. It is considered to be the most promising nuclear fusion framework to ignite the first flame of human nuclear fusion. I have asked the engineers who participated in the disassembly to summarize the internal structure of the conventional conductor tokamak into drawings. One day, our MOSI technology laboratory will definitely build its own conventional conductor tokamak. High-end instruments like conventional conductor tokamaks are difficult to buy with money, and the various research institutes that own them regard them as treasures, and will never lend them out. This is the fundamental reason why Liemo gave up his face and set a trap to trick academicians out. Chapter 350. Can't even copy homework properly? MOSI Technology Laboratory. A burnt yellow leaf fell slowly from the tall camphor trees on both sides of the road to the ground with the breeze. This is probably the first fallen leaf this autumn. Liemo bent down gently and held the leaf that had completed its mission in his palm. Little guy, you have completed the task, but what about me? More than 10 months have passed since the system released the task. The MOSI Technology Laboratory has spent tens of billions of funds and mobilized more than 2,000 scientists. From sketch design to actual demonstration, from the first screw to the assembly of complex life support systems, the copycat work of the spacecraft can be said to be very smooth. But just when all members of the project team thought that the first real spacecraft was about to be born in their hands, Liu Hao, the director of the laboratory's material analysis group, walked into the project command room with a sad face. At that time, Liemo was planning the first destination of the spacecraft, the moon or Mars. The farthest end of the lunar orbit is only 405,696 kilometers away from the Earth, and humans have enough understanding of it, and the corresponding risks are relatively small. It is naturally the most suitable as the maiden voyage of the spacecraft, but it has already been visited by the M people and has lost its mysterious veil. The maiden voyage of the spacecraft must have symbolic significance, symbolizing that mankind has truly embarked on the journey of conquering the stars and the sea. From this perspective, the moon does not seem to be suitable. Then the target of the spacecraft can only be Mars. More than 4 billion years ago, Mars and the Earth were formed almost at the same time. It has the same South Pole and North Pole as the Earth, as well as high mountains and canyons, and has 4 distinct seasons, and even the length of a day is almost the same. It is known as the twin brother of the Earth. Even through drilling analysis of Martian rocks, humans have preliminarily confirmed the inference that there was water on Mars. The significance of water for the existence of life is self-evident. Although Mars is currently a wasteland and does not have the conditions for the existence of life, with the development of science and technology, it is most likely to become the first stop for human migration to space. With the development of society, the resources on Earth are gradually unable to support the growing population, so finding the next habitat has become the primary goal of astronomy. This is why those big countries spend huge amounts of money to continuously launch exploration satellites to explore Mars. Mars, that's you. Liemo drew a circle on the star map at the location of the 4th planet in the solar system. Boss, there's a problem with the project. Liu Hao looked at his boss who was drawing a circle on the star map, hesitated for a moment, and decided to break this beautiful moment. Problem? Liemo turned around with a puzzled look on his face. The various tasks of the spacecraft development were nearing completion, and now the only thing missing was the core nano quantum generator. Could it be? He was shocked. We encountered difficulties in the manufacture of the core nano quantum generator. Liu Hao lowered his head and blushed. Liemo asked in surprise, it's impossible. Although the internal structure of the core nano quantum generator is very complicated, according to the drawings I sent you, the nanoscale manipulator supported by the North China Institute of Physics can be completely assembled at low temperatures. As the core of the spacecraft power output, the core nano quantum generator has an internal assembly accuracy of 0.001 mm, which has exceeded the limit of manual labor. Fortunately, Liemo found a new nanoscale manipulator in the support list. After some transformation by scientists, the assembly environment was upgraded to a constant low temperature, which overcame the problem of assembly accuracy. It's not a problem of assembly precision. It's the bronze metal plate you sent. We can't do anything with it. Liu Hao stuttered. Liemo was confused by his words. The bronze metal plate was removed from the alien engine and was used to make the core nano quantum generator. To change the purpose of an object made of metal, it is naturally necessary to recast the object at high temperature. What do you mean by no way? Liemo's eyes widened, his face full of confusion. We have conducted high temperature, laser, water jet and even extreme low temperature experiments on the metal plate, but it still doesn't move at all. Liu Hao took a deep breath, his face full of disbelief. I have never seen this kind of metal. We even used an ultra-high temperature laser reactor that can melt tantalum hafnium carbide alloy. Looking at Liu Hao's frustration, Liemo felt an inexplicable sadness in his heart. Could it be that he couldn't even copy homework well? A metal plate made of special metal. A spacecraft power core that requires special metal. What a perfect solution. The problem now is that this special metal cannot be recast by conventional means. Liemo frowned and paced. Why did the Pajero people choose this special metal with an extremely high melting point as the outer shell of the spacecraft engine? Are they going to go deep into the interior of the star? His eyes lit up. The interior of a star has a temperature of 20 million degrees Celsius. At this temperature, any metal will decompose into free atoms. Maybe the melting point of this special metal is the internal temperature of the star? If the metal plate is placed inside the star, it will definitely melt. Liemo patted his head and blurted out an idea. Star? Then how can we reach the interior of the star? Liu Hao was stunned by his whimsical idea. Liemo smiled slightly. Although it is impossible to reach the high temperature and high pressure inside the star with our current level of technology, but we have a conventional conductor tokamak borrowed from the Institute of Mechanical Engineering. Its principle is to simulate the conditions inside the star for controlled nuclear fusion, which can naturally produce the same high temperature as the interior of the star. So, under Liemo's suggestion, the conventional conductor tokamak for studying nuclear fusion became a super furnace, but unfortunately this furnace requires several days of preparation. According to the experimental plan, today is the time for the super furnace to start. Liemo glanced at the time on his watch. It was 5:30 p.m. If everything goes well, the smelting should have been completed. Unconsciously, he had strolled to the lake. Quack, quack. A duck's call came from the lake. It was a group of wild ducks playing in the lake. The yellow-spotted duck called loudly, leading 3 or 4 ducklings with fluffy feathers. The mother duck was escorting them. They seemed to be having a family picnic. When the construction of the laboratory was broken ground, there was a dispute within the laboratory about the retention of the small lake. The designer from the Design Institute believed that it was extremely wasteful to keep a useless small lake in this place, where every inch of land is valuable. The small lake could be flattened and then built into an employee fitness center. Liemo, who had no idea about the small lake at the beginning, agreed with the professional designer's point of view, but did not make a decision immediately. Instead, he took advantage of a free time and came to the small lake. He knew that in this universe, it was easy to destroy something, but it was difficult to recreate it. Even if it was created, how could it be guaranteed to be the original one? That was the first time he met the yellow spotted duck. In the drizzle, a wild duck with yellow spots on its head swam in the lake, making a cheerful quack sound, not realizing that the paradise it lived in might soon turn into a cold building of reinforced concrete. Its fate was completely determined by the highly intelligent creatures, humans. So, who determines the fate of humans? Can't this vast universe accommodate a small lake? Back in the office, Liamo immediately rejected the designer's fitness center plan and issued an order strictly prohibiting anyone from disturbing the yellow spotted duck in the lake. I never thought that your baby has been born after not seeing you for a few days. Liamo stared at the lake and muttered to himself. The birth of a new life is always worth celebrating. Beep 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 as the result of the smelting of the metal plate. He immediately took out his mobile phone and answered the call. 2 minutes later, a triumphant smile appeared on his face. Goodbye, yellow spot head. I'm going to realize my dream of the stars and the sea. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.